All right, we're back. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Freshman Podcast, aka the Debrief. Sorry about that. The internet went down all of a sudden, but you know what? It's probably better that it happened early on versus right in the middle of the broadcast. So where we left off, just so that we don't miss anything, was I was asking Cory, our special guest, what led him to, I guess, researching this so meticulously. And basically, he researched David Ferrie, which if we could put him up on screen real quick. And from there, pulled on that thread and was able to unravel the whole thing because his alibi story of where he was on November 22nd, the day JFK died, was debunked. He was able to debunk his alibi, and then from there, just kept digging and find out more and more stuff. But real quick, since we're doing the rebroadcast here, can you introduce yourself to the people real fast one more time?
My name is Cory Hughes. I'm a Kennedy assassination researcher. I have been since July 2018. I've got a couple books out, A Warning from History, Lee Harvey Oswald in Black and White, and lately I've been forgetting to tell people that I was a cop for a long time, about 8.5 years, and
local PD or
yeah, I was in Pinellas.
Okay.
And so that basically, I feel like that gave me the background to adequately approach this, because when you look at all the Kennedy researchers, like all of them, not a single one of them has an investigative background. Maybe a reporter, like that, but no, there were no detectives or police in the Kennedy world at all. And it's obvious when you understand investigations and you look at the work of the vast majority of people out there. It's dumbfounding at the very basic investigative steps that they just skip. So, but yeah, Kennedy's my whole life. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning, and it's the last thing I think about every night before I go to sleep. I've got at least the next 2 years worth of books planned out and a documentary for next year. So yeah, I'm all in on this investigation. I think it's the most important event in American history, possibly the most important event in world history. It's the day that the Zionists took over our army. It was over for us. If you ask me, America ended November 22nd, 1963. And we've been an Israeli colony ever since. So.
Wow. Okay. So I guess what we could do first is, for the people that aren't aware or maybe a little fuzzy on the official narrative, we can kind of rehash the official narrative that the government sticks to, I guess, to this day now.
To this day.
Even though there has been declassified documents that came out earlier this year that kind of conflict with the official narrative that was found on the Warren Commission, we could kind of go through that first and get into what really happened on that, but we do official narrative.
Sure. The official story says Lee Harvey Oswald, who's a disgruntled, kind of loner teenager who became a loner, disgruntled Marine, had such a disdain for America and the American way of life that he defected to the Soviet Union, and then basically attempted to reject his American citizenship for Soviet citizenship. However, my opinion, they knew he was kind of connected all along, so they kind of kept him at arm's length. They never they gave him local living permits. They never gave him citizenship. And actually, when you dig into the documents, he started to want to come back within like 6 months of being there, and he was kind of stuck there for 2 years, which also contradicts the official narrative. But after that, he gets back to America. He's still disgruntled.
And we got a photo up here for you guys, for just to rehash, just so you guys could put a picture to the name. That's Lee Harvey Oswald, which keep that name in mind because we're going to have a couple variations of that. But yeah.
So he gets back to the States in June of '62, and he really doesn't do anything with himself. He bounces around from some low-level jobs that, when you dig into, were all intelligence connected. Then in around April or May of 1963, he ends up moving back from Dallas to New Orleans, where he gets involved allegedly with the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, which is supposed to be the proof that he's a communist. He's seen out on the street corner handing out flyers for Fair Play for Cuba Committee.
And this was depicted in the movie, I remember, JFK.
He's also put on WDSU television in New Orleans a couple times being interviewed, which all stemmed from him handing out the flyers. Right, so they did a great job of establishing this legend of Oswald the communist, even after he came back from the Soviet Union.
And this is when he was on TV saying he was a Marxist-Leninist, if I'm not mistaken, because there is footage of him from the 60s, saying that on TV.
Yeah, so eventually he'll get a job, well, allegedly get a job at the Texas School Book Depository. The fact that Oswald worked at the Texas School Book Depository is kind of etched into everyone's mind.
Yep.
And then on November 22nd, 1963, he assassinates Kennedy from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. He'll then flee on a bus and then a cab, and then he'll be involved in the shooting of police officer J.D. Tippit. And then from there, he flees to the Texas Theater, where he's arrested And then 2 days later, he's shot by Jack Ruby.
We could pull up Jack Ruby real
And
quick.
the whole case is wrapped up with a nice, neat little bow on it. And so that's the official story.
So Oswald, who's a communist defector, goes to Russia, comes back, passes out pamphlets, gets interviews on TV, talking about communism positively, etc. He gets a job at this book depository in Dallas, Texas. He's working there. He shoots Kennedy from the book depository with the Carcano rifle? A Carcano rifle. Is that the Italian rifle? Right?
It's an Italian rifle. It was used during World War II by the Italians.
So he shoots him with this Carcano rifle. With what one shooter is the alleged situation. How many shots did he take? 3?
Allegedly 3.
3 with the official narrative.
Right.
1 missed, 2 hit.
Correct.
And then after that, he left the rifle there, fled from the book depository, ran to the movie to try to escape because they closed the area off. In the process of him trying to escape, he shoots and kills a Dallas police officer, J.D. Tippett.
Right.
And
he'll flee from Dealey Plaza to Oak Cliff, where J.D. Tippett is shot. And the story says he went on a bus, but this bus got stuck in traffic, so he gets off and then gets in a cab.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes to a movie theater to hide, allegedly to hide in the movie theater.
Right, the Texas Theater.
The Texas Theater. And it's there where law enforcement captures him, arrests him. He's interviewed by Dallas PD, if I'm not mistaken, right, for 6 hours or something?
That's the story. He's interviewed for a long time. Mm-hmm. I don't personally believe any of the information that they gave us from that, but yeah, he's allegedly interviewed. It was actually like 12 or 14 hours or something
that they interviewed him. But we have no. Apparently, it was recording everything. Nobody has the interview. No one knows what he said.
Correct.
And then he's perp walked in front of the police department, and then Jack Ruby, who we could pull up a picture of him, aka Jacob Rubenstein, walks up and shoots him and kills him.
That is correct.
With 1 shot in the gut, right?
One shot in the gut. I thought it was kind of. I'm still shocked to this day that Oswald just died from 1 shot in the gut.
Yeah.
They might have pulled a Martin Luther King on him. Martin Luther King was actually suffocated to death in the ambulance.
Oh, shit.
He didn't die from the gunshot to the neck.
Oh.
So they might have pulled that on Oswald, too. We just
okay. So basically, that's the official narrative, guys. Solo shooter gets captured at the movie theater. He did it because he hated Kennedy, because he was a communist. And...
So the official
3
story
shots.
on the official story on the why doesn't make any sense at all. He's a communist, but Kennedy was attempting to form relations with the Soviet Union and to kind of ease the pressures of the Cold War. So you would think that a communist would want Kennedy to succeed in that endeavor.
Yeah.
Right? There'd be no reason for a communist to shoot Kennedy. The official story says the reason he did it is because he wanted a place in history.
Okay.
That makes no sense at all, especially when you come to understand the real life of Oswald and what drove him throughout his life. The idea that he was seeking a place in history, it's just made up out of thin air.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's the official narrative there. And any chats or anything like that before we get into this?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah. I'll read some of the chats real fast, and then we'll get into the actual stuff. And shout out to Sandman with the 50 gifted subs from the last stream. We saw you, man. Sorry about that it went down, but now we're back up on all the platforms. Here it is right now everywhere, guys. Kick, Rumble, YouTube. So yeah,
Party
as well. So this is a very important broadcast. So I think we're gonna stay up everywhere. I want people to really get this out there. We've been lied to about that. I think this is probably one of the most egregious assassinations that the government's lied to us about, because it's like they didn't even try hard enough. Like the Warren Commission was completely bullshit, which we're going to debunk a lot of that today, thanks to Cory. Anything else besides that? Yes. Okay. Myron, this is some BS. They took HH off YouTube and Spotify. The one time I got to listen to it, and it's gone. Yeah, it's gone, bro. You're going to have to look for it. Yeah, they did remove it, yeah. For obvious reasons. I think Ye told them they wanted it off, too. What else? Riyadh says, /Myron and Cory, anything new coming on the Substack? I guess that's probably for you.
Yeah, I'm just out of town this week.
Okay.
So.
New stuff coming. All right, what else? I'd like to know if Cory can confirm this document being legitimate. It looks like a...
Yes, it's legitimate.
Oh, this is a secret... This is one of the memos I think that was declassified.
This is the Homer Echevarria document. Yeah, it's legitimate.
Okay, and it says right there, highlighted, we now have plenty of money. Our
new backers are Jews.
Yeah, our new backers are Jews. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this came from this year, didn't it? This document just came.
I've had this document forever. This document was first published in the book Cover Up in 1967. So
okay,
I got to make a point here. When they say they're giving us documents, They don't. They give us what mostly was what's called best known copies, which is old documents that look a little cleaner. That's
Gotcha.
it. That's 90% of the documents we've gotten. Every single document since 2017 that they've dumped on us has been complete garbage.
Okay.
Like worthless. Like there's nothing in there whatsoever. I've gone through most of it. None of the key search terms ever pop up in any of those documents. They're really just a waste of everybody's time. I wouldn't even read them.
Okay. Because no one had seen that before. But you're saying these documents have been out. It's just that I guess they're re-releasing them. Okay. W Stream, let's go, Marn. OSS 300 Forever. Hey, shout out to you, man. We got a bunch of guys here as well. Anything else? That's it. All right, cool. So we'll get into it. So we went over the official narrative. Now we're going to kind of get into the real stuff, which is going to be pretty extensive here, guys. So get ready, and if you need to rewind or whatever, that's fine. I guess where do you want to take it from here, Cory? As far as
I think it's important to kind of lay out the background in as far as the men who pulled off the assassination, right? You have to understand the relationships these guys have with each other in order to be able to identify them in Dealey Plaza. And the bulk of the shooters, with the exception of one of the Knoll shooters, the shooter between the pergola and the fence, and there was a shooter who didn't shoot on the overpass, those guys were all mob connected, separate from David Ferrie and his crew. But when you study New Orleans, you'll find the center of the circle in New Orleans is David Ferrie. Now,
let's pull him up real quick.
Who are David Ferrie's associates? His likely handler was a guy named Clay Shaw, the guy who Jim Garrison brought on trial for conspiracy.
Pull him up too, Clay Shaw. Clay Shaw, yeah. Just so I want the audience to have a face to the names. Are they on your PowerPoint too, or do you want us to just pull? We can just pull up their pictures.
They'd be too scattered in there.
That's fine. There's Clay Shaw right there. So Dave Ferrie, show him real fast. The eyebrows is what people always remember about him. David Ferrie,
right?
And then Clay, and he worked under Clay Shaw,
right?
Which this isn't a movie actually with the Oliver Stone movie.
Yes. So I just watched it again for the 50th time the other day, and it's amazing because that movie steers you away from the truth, but at the same time they put so many little nuggets of truth in there. It's truly amazing because they came all the stuff around David Ferrie, like the interview in the office and everything that they found out about him. The fact that they interview David Ferrie in the beginning of that movie, and it's obvious David Ferrie's lying, but then the rest of the movie, they never go down that path and explore why David Ferrie was lying, right? Because David Ferrie allegedly goes to the Winterland Ice Skating Rink Saturday. That's his alibi story, which kind of showed that he couldn't have been in Dallas. That whole story unravels. So back to New Orleans. You have David Ferrie, Clay Shaw. Mm-hmm. And then from there, David Ferrie's two closest associates are Sergei Arcacha, who was a former diplomat from Cuba.
We're going to try to pull him up here. Sergio
Arcacha, A-R-C-A-C-H-A.
See if we can get a photo of this guy. And then what was the second one?
The next one?
Sergio Arcacha.
Sergio Arcacha.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up.
And then
Sergio Arcacha.
And then another guy named Leighton Martins. And a guy named Andrew Jerome Blackman. Those were David Ferrie's closest guys. Okay. All those guys were in Dealey Plaza.
Okay.
So once you get past that, you get to a kind of a group. He kind of had some Cubans surrounding him, what people thought were Cubans.
And David Ferrie was an anti-communist, right?
Rabid anti-communist.
Okay.
Clay Shaw, rabid anti-communist. Clay Shaw had actually been in the OSS under General Charles Thrasher, and that's when he got his introduction to intelligence. And he says he didn't get into intelligence till the 50s. However, this is wrong.
And the OSS, guys, was not to be confused with our community. It's the Office of Strategic Services, which was the predecessor of the CIA.
Right. So, a couple things. David Ferrie and Clay Shaw are not supposed to know each other.
Is that your guy? That's Sergio?
Yes, that's Sergio Arcacha.
Sergio Arcacha. Who's the second guy? Something Blackman?
Andrew Jerome Blackman. Andrew Blackman. There's no pictures of him.
Oh, there's none? Okay.
None.
And then what was the third guy?
Leighton Martins.
Leighton Martins is
interesting because later on, way after the assassination, he became like a B-grade actor. So there's a bunch of movies with him in it. Okay. But after you get past that, the next group of guys who surrounded David Ferrie are a bunch of mercenaries. All mercenaries who were at one time, well, everybody's funded by the CIA. But these guys all met down at No Name Key through a guy named Jerry Hemming who ran a group called Interpen. And Interpen was a mercenary group that the CIA was funding to do raids in Cuba. Okay, so that's where a lot of this stuff revolved around prior to the assassination. I believe I have evidence that the Knoll shooter actually trained down there with those guys in No Name Key. And so the main guys there would be Lawrence Howard, who is a Mexican-American, Lauren Hall, and William Seymour. William Seymour, one of the more important people in the entire story, because as you go through the story, you find that many of the things attributed to Oswald were never Oswald. He was being impersonated, and William Seymour was one of two men doing the primary impersonations of Oswald.
So this is very important. So just so the audience understands this. So one of the key things here with this assassination is the Oswald that we see historically that was the shooter is not really Oswald.
Yes and no. We'll get to what I understand what you're saying, but what the reality is that when Oswald got back, well, before even Oswald got back from the Soviet Union, there were people impersonating him going back to January of 1961. January 1961, a man who gave the name Lee Oswald went to Bolton Ford in New Orleans with a guy who was a husky Latin guy with a pockmarked face. That guy you will find is Lawrence Howard, the Mexican.
Can we pull him up? This is an important guy. Lawrence Howard is.
So we have a guy who gives the name Lee
JFK.
Oswald.
It'll come up.
You have a guy who gives the name Lee Oswald at Bolton Ford in January 61. However, Lee Harvey Oswald is still in the Soviet Union until June of 1962.
And this is Lawrence Howard right here. And then the guy next to him, who is that?
On the far left, that's Sergei Arkacha. No, that's Lawrence Howard. And the next guy is Lawrence Howard. And the next guy over is Lauren Hall. And then Lawrence Howard once again.
Okay. And these guys were CIA, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, they deny it. The CIA denies it, but that's plausible deniability. You know?
Okay, of course.
That group right there, Lawrence Howard, Lauren Hall, and the guy on the far right, that's William Seymour. The guy on the far right is the man who impersonated Oswald at many places, including a Mercury dealership in Dallas, where he said he was going to get a bunch of money and he wanted to test drive a car. He also impersonated Oswald at the Sportsdrome rifle range. And the Sportsdrome rifle range incident is very important because it was used to show that Oswald, number one, had a rifle. He was shooting at targets. He was practicing, and he was shooting in patterns of 3, right? Like they say the official story was.
So in the Warren Commission, because so in the Warren Commission, they said Oswald was practicing with a rifle,
right,
etc. So what you're saying is the person that was practicing with the rifle that they're referring to in the Warren Commission, the official narrative,
yes,
was not actually Oswald. It was this guy,
William Seymour. Absolutely,
who
100%.
looks just like Oswald.
Right.
That's huge.
So, and
let's put a picture of Seymour. Do we have a first shot? Is it in your PowerPoint? The picture of William Seymour?
Yeah, you should be able to find one on Google.
Because I want them to see how. Yeah, type in William Seymour JFK and it'll come up. Because I want people to see like how him and Oswald do look somewhat similar.
Well, and one thing I need to point out, in these impersonations, the body doubles, this is an actual CIA program that they do. It's called identity transfer. So it's a real thing. I mean, spies have body doubles. They do dead drops. They do all kinds of stuff to maintain plausible deniability. So when I say that these guys were impersonating Oswald, they were doing it to construct the legend, to build the background of him being an angry communist who was practicing with a rifle, right? So every single part of the story of Oswald being an angry communist and all that stuff post June 62 is all a fabrication because they're setting him up.
Yeah.
So many people believe...
It's a deliberate backstory.
Right, right. So many people believe that Oswald was actually involved with David Ferrie in New Orleans, involved with these mercenaries, involved with the Cubans, and part of the assassination. That is... I absolutely don't believe that at all. There's zero evidence for it, and there's actually more evidence that they were keeping Oswald at a distance. They were keeping him busy. Hey, go work your BS job. Hey, take your unemployment and go do whatever, right? They were keeping him at arm's length
Are any of those
in order to
pictures
set him up.
We're trying to pull it up, William Seymour.
No.
Wait, are you searching William Seymour?
You can go back to that first. You can go back a page or two, and you had him with that group picture.
Okay.
There we go. Click on that.
I was
going
to try to get a big picture of him so they could see his face, but
yeah, it's the guy on the right, the short guy on the right.
Okay.
So he doesn't really look like Oswald, but he doesn't have to. In the identity.
So that's the guy that was shooting in the Warren Commission at the shooting range that they allege was Oswald.
Correct. So when you do an identity transfer operation, these people don't have to look exactly alike because if they're not together, they will not be scrutinized. Mm-hmm. And so the pattern is William Seymour and Carrie Thornley and a couple of miscellaneous guys who aren't really important did things to set up this Oswald legend, right? But Oswald himself, I'm convinced, was out doing whatever. He was kind of frustrated. He was upset because he is in Dallas or New Orleans, and the Fair Play for Cuba Committee stuff obviously set up through Kerry Thornley. And I think that he was kept at a distance so they could set him up, right? They kept him out of places where they knew he would have to be in order to be set up for the assassination. There are multiple sightings of Oswald in New Orleans at 544 Camp Street, which is where Clay Shaw, David Ferrie, Guy Bannister had an office, and they would go there, and a lot of the weapons that were stolen from some of these bunkers throughout the years ended up there before being shipped off to Israel, right? Mm-hmm. And so these guys in New Orleans, I don't believe Oswald was ever associated with them directly. I believe all the sightings of Oswald around these people were Kerry Thornley or William Seymour.
Gotcha.
Because it doesn't make sense.
So very important. Kerry Thornley and William Seymour were two individuals that were often identified as Oswald.
Correct.
To put him in certain locations to build the illusion that this guy was a rabid communist that wanted Kennedy gone.
Right. There's an incident in September of 1963 where a woman in Baton Rouge named McGee, she says she came forward and said that Oswald came and met with her about renting a room. He brought a woman who had was pregnant and had a child with her, who continued to sit in the car because she didn't speak English. This sounds like Marina Oswald, right? And so this guy who looks like Oswald, who she identified as Oswald, goes into her apartment, starts talking to her, says, I've got all these rifles and stuff. So is this place secure? I need to store them so nobody can get in and get my rifles. He starts talking about communism, had to explain what communism was to her. And then as he's leaving, he made a comment about, hey, I guess Kennedy's coming to town. I might have to go see him or something like that, right? All these things that would make it seem that Oswald was planning an assassination, they're just planting seeds. You know,
Gotcha.
This identity transfer operation. And here's another thing you have to consider. If you meet with somebody casually and you don't meet him again, and then 3 months later, someone's on television and they shot somebody and they're saying this is the guy, you wouldn't have an exact memory of the person who's on television.
Yeah.
But if that person left clues,
Yes.
then you would be like, hey, that's that guy.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it didn't look exact, especially on an old grainy black and white television from the 60s, right?
Yep.
So that's how they got away with it. That's how they got away with impersonating him without him having to be identical, because he was close enough to, when not scrutinized, people would just assume it was him. And when you actually go through the record, you'll find like 100 incidents where people are saying, Oswald came in my store and talked about communism or whatever. You know what I mean? So
that's really important, that the audience understands that this ideology that Oswald was this Marxist-Leninist that wanted Kennedy killed was a story that was being built up and propped up with multiple people that look like him over a period of years.
Yes.
To build more credibility so that when they do their internal Warren Commission investigation, oh yeah, I saw him here, he was talking about how he hates Kennedy. Oh, I saw him over here talking about communism. Saw him over here talking about Castro being great. Oh, I saw him here passing flowers. It was all a story constructed with multiple actors.
Correct.
And these individuals that played a body double, like you said, were CIA operatives from this, I guess, strategy where you're saying, what's it called again when they have
identity transfer.
Okay. All right.
Yes, and it all revolved around New Orleans. Mm-hmm. So Oswald himself, I don't believe, worked at the book depository. When I started to dig into the statements of everybody who worked in the book depository, and you have to think the book depository is 4 or 5 different businesses. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just the book depository. When you go through the statements, it's about 60 or 70 pages of statements from everybody who worked in the book depository. I started to see some patterns emerge. I started to see people saying, yeah, I think I might have seen him at the book depository one day, but I'm not really sure, and he wasn't there that day. And then once I got like 7 or 8 statements of people who worked in that building who had never seen Oswald, a couple of them never saw him till he was on television. They were like, what? They were confused. Once I realized
the Oswald that we know, and this is the book depository right here, guys, just so you put an image again. This is where the famous shooting came from. So the people that were there at the book depository, the Oswald that we know, if we could pull up his picture again, the witnesses there said, whoa, we never saw this guy actually working here.
Right. Well, not all, but we have a handful. And a handful is all you need. It got me thinking about Oswald. And like I said before, you're not going to let your patsy walk around the belly of the beast. And the series of events at the book depository required them getting the employees out front, right, to get them out of the building. They then funnel 3 assassins in the back door. And are we really supposed to believe they're just going to let Lee Harvey Oswald, who's definitely a patsy, not involved with this, just roam around the building while they got assassins on the 3rd floor? I don't think so. It's the dumbest story ever. The more I thought about it, the more ridiculous it seemed to me. Then I find in the Robert Hughes film. Robert Hughes was a guy who was there filming. It's one of about a dozen films taken that day. Most people kind of, it's not one of the bigger films because it seems kind of irrelevant, just kind of scenery. But when you know what you're looking for, when you watch the Robert Hughes film, at about a minute and 30 seconds in,
or
you can, yeah. You can
is it on your PowerPoint?
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
Yes, pull it on YouTube.
Okay. Robert Hughes.
JFK.
And it'll come up, so we'll show them.
So there's a point in here where there's a guy in the railroad yards who looks just like Oswald. And when I really studied it, it was William Seymour. Yeah, that's it.
This one?
Yeah, that's it.
Boom, let's make that big for them.
Yeah, go ahead and make that big and play it, and I'll show you exactly where to pause what I'm talking about. You guys gonna play it?
Do you want us to fast forward to a certain point?
No, just let it go.
Okay.
And I'll kind of talk over it. See, it's just kind of general shots. It's grainy. You can't really see. At least it's in color. Mm-hmm. This is as Kennedy's limo is approaching. That's Kennedy's limo. Behind him, you have the Secret Service car. Do you see it? Note the 2 tall white guys on the side of the Secret Service car. Very important. 2 tall, 6 foot tall white guys on the side of the Secret Service car.
Okay.
So it turns around right about here. People say they heard firecrackers going off, and that's preceded the first shots. This is then after, for some reason, Robert Hughes' film cuts. We don't know why. The guy's dead. We can't ask him. But it cuts to after the shooting actually occurs. It shows the people running up towards the Knoll area. And, all right, I always said these 2 people walking the opposite direction was kind of strange. That green and white Pontiac that just went by, that's significant. That box truck that went by, stop right here. All right.
Oh, yeah.
That right there.
Okay.
This guy right here. Play it out a little bit. All right, pause it. That
Bam.
guy right there, that's William Seymour.
Okay.
Now, when I saw that and realized that was William Seymour.
And he's in a tan jacket, guys. You can see him right there. That's
the tan jacket is essential. I'm going to pause real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Look up above him, and to the left, there's 2 guys standing right there with big hats. Over to the left. Right there. Those 2 guys, those are Hasidic Jews. Those are big Jew hats.
Ah, okay.
Okay. All right, you can let it play. All right. Actually, back it up a couple seconds. We'll show that little clip one more time. From right there. Watch. He gets a signal from that guy, Trantham. He gets a signal from the other cop who's not supposed to be on scene for 10 more minutes. And then from there, William Seymour will walk back. You can stop it.
What's the signal that you're talking about there?
They look at it, they meet eyes, and then they turn.
Go back real fast here. And just for those that are coming in, the reason why this is significant, guys, is that guy with the tan jacket is one of the people that was a body double for Oswald to build up the communist angle. So let's see here. So this is, okay, these are the cars passing by. All right. Okay, so there's,
watch.
Boom.
The guy in the trench coat is Trantham. They look at each other.
Trantham, that one right there?
That's Detective Trantham, yes. He's not supposed to be on scene for 10 more minutes. His statement puts him on scene at 12:45, and this is 12:33.
So this is right after the shots went out?
Right at 3 minutes. This is 3 minutes out. So from here, you'll have the shots happen. The guys flee from the book depository. 2 of them leave in a green Nash Rambler. William Seymour comes out the back door. He walks to right here. Mm-hmm. He gets the signal from Trantham, who's not supposed to be on scene for another 10 minutes. And I know it's Trantham because that guy will arrest a man named Larry Florer in Dealey Plaza. Many people believe Larry Florer is actually Ted Shackley. So,
what's the significance of these individuals, though?
Ted Shackley is, Larry Florer is just some guy wandering around in Dealey Plaza. He ends up on the 3rd floor of the Dal Tex Building. He says he's looking for a phone, but there's no phone on the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor was definitely a place where they were told to go as a safe house. It was home to the Maryland Belt Company, which was connected to Zapruder. Okay? At least 3 people.
Is the 3rd floor where the shots came from?
No, this is the Dal Tex Building.
Next door right. To the, yes, okay.
So Larry Florer goes into the Dal Tex Building. He gets arrested as he's coming out because he's not supposed to be there. Some people believe that is actually Ted Shackley, because Ted Shackley is the head of the Miami station for the CIA. Okay. The JMWAVE station. The station in Miami, it was the largest CIA domestic station. They're not supposed to have domestic stations, but they had over 30,000 people working out of it.
What's the name of the station one more time?
JMWAVE.
Can we pull that up real quick? Because I think Wikipedia has a page for that one too, JMWAVE, just so they see.
So
the JM and then Wave. Yep.
So
Miami.
you have
CIA, it'll come up.
people going to the third floor in the Dal Tex trying to use a phone.
Okay.
There was no phone there. The only phone was attached to the Maryland Belt Company. So
So
people had
let
to
me
know.
get this straight. The Oswald body double, who we just had up on screen with the tan jacket, gets a I said a wave. This is the CIA station you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I could pull this together for the audience because this is, I want to make sure they understand
These
this.
guys here, the JMWAVE station in Miami.
Yes.
These are the guys who directly handled the New Orleans crew.
Of CIA operatives.
Yes.
Lawrence and all these other guys.
Right.
They're
So,
here.
Correct.
From here.
They're in New Orleans. They're being managed by a couple people. One of the guys managing them is a guy named George Joannides. Joannides was they acknowledge he spent the summer of '63 in New Orleans. Okay, when you go through the Dealey Plaza pictures and the Secret Service car, you find all the top guys from JMWAVE were in Dealey Plaza. Ted Shackley, if you believe Ted Shackley and Larry Floor are the same, and honestly, I got a 77% positive match on facial recognition, but I'm still kind of on the fence.
So can we pull up the Hughes video one more time? Because I want to put this all together for people so they understand. So Thornley is there. Sorry, William Seymour, tall guy with the with the tan jacket. He gives the look to the guy in the trench coat who is a Dallas detective.
Dallas detective.
And that Dallas detective didn't say that he was on scene until 10 minutes after the shooting in his reporting.
Correct.
But actually, he's there as the shooting's happening.
Right.
And this is significant because this guy ends up arresting CIA operatives.
A guy named, correct, who then get funneled out the back door.
Gotcha.
Right.
So that's why this is significant because he was involved, because he arrested CIA operatives. Did he know that they were CIA operatives when he arrested them?
I believe so. When you watch the video of the arrest, there's actually a video of Larry Floor being arrested. Trantham is walking him, and he's talking in his ear. They're talking to each other. He's not walking him like he's a prisoner. He's walking him like he knows the guy.
And I'm assuming this was happening during all the pandemonium that
Yes.
happened after the shots were fired. They didn't
Yes.
know who was the shooter, so they're just picking up anybody that was at the depository, which
Right.
seemed like where the shots came from.
Right.
And some of the guys that got picked up were CIA operatives.
Obviously, they have plausible deniability.
Of course.
But I'm telling you, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why it's significant. All right.
Right. So, I
hope this is all making sense for you guys. I know we're covering a lot of different things here, but give me ones if this is making sense up at this point.
Let me explain a series of events up to this point in this video.
Yeah.
So the shots are fired. You have two shooters on the 6th floor, and you have a shooter on the roof. The shooter on the roof will end up making his way to the 6th floor. They go down the elevator. They go out the back door. I'm doing a short version because we'll do a more detailed explanation later.
Three shooters from the depository, right?
Three.
Three.
Yes. They
Roof,
go out
6th floor.
roof and two on the 6th floor.
Gotcha. Okay.
Although I can't say with certainty the shooter on the roof fired, but they had found a Mauser on the roof. We know this because of the book Cover Up, which came out in 1967, and the Dallas police admitted it. The Dallas police said, yes, there was a rifle found, but it belonged to a security guard. That's the whole statement. There was no security guard. We don't know anything else, but they definitely found a Mauser on the roof. So that's 3 out of the book depository. And later, one of the detectives is photographed carrying a Remington rifle down the steps of the book depository. So, yeah, I calculate 5 or 6 rifles were actually located in Dealey Plaza that day. But basically,
Not just a Carcano like they claimed.
no, not at all. And so basically, the series of events is 3 of the guys flee out the back door, 2 leave in a station wagon, and William Seymour at that point will walk into Dealey Plaza in the railroad yards, and that's what we just saw in that video. He gets a signal from Trantham.
He was not a shooter. He was just there.
I believe that he was guarding the elevators on the ground floor because they had to kill the power to the building. So at 12:29 p.m., multiple witnesses said the power to the building went out. Okay?
And this is a minute or two before
1 minute.
the shooting.
1 minute.
Shooting was at 12:30.
Right.
12:29, power's out.
Right.
Interesting.
And the power was killed by a guy named William Shelley. Bill Shelley was the manager of all the employees at the book depository. So he killed the power 1 minute before the shooting. And how do we know that he killed the power? I'll tell you. Because the shooting happens, and you have Vicki Adams, who's on the 4th floor. She works for one of the other publishers in that building. She tries to push the button for the elevator. It won't move. So she's like, okay. She goes down the stairs. When she gets to the bottom of the stairs, she sees William Shelley and Billy Lovelady, another employee, on the 1st floor, deep inside the building, next to the power box.
Okay.
Their statements, they deny ever having been in there. And she made that statement twice, in a written statement and before the Warren Commission. So William Shelley and Billy Lovelady in on this. She comes down the stairs immediately after the shooting. She sees them by the power box, so they must have just flipped the power back on. which is exactly what I think happened. They flip the power back on. They go out into Dealey Plaza. They're caught in the couch film. Then Vicki Adams will go out the back door. And then, since the power is now back on, two of the guys on the 6th floor, Sergei Arcacha and Lawrence Howard,
Two shooters,
will come down in the elevator, get out at the 1st floor, and then the two of them, along with William Seymour, will come out the back door at exactly 12:33, maybe 12:32, but that video is at 12:33. So right at about that time, 12:32, 12:33, they're out the back door, and two of them leave in a green Nash Rambler. William Seymour walks, and we just saw the video of him in Dealey Plaza in the railroad yards. From there, William Seymour will re-enter the building and go back up to the top floor.
Why?
And, he had to do something up there. I'm not sure what he did. Maybe some kind of cleanup, but we're talking like within just a couple minutes. From there, he will then make his way down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a very famous story about Oswald, like 90 seconds after the assassination, being stopped in the 2nd floor lunchroom drinking a Coke.
Yep.
That story is a myth. It is fake. It never happened. They made that story up to cover for the fact that at that exact moment, Baker, who was the motorcycle cop, was making an arrest of a suspect in front of the book depository. So we know that the general timeline they give us about, so according to the official story, Lee Oswald shoots from the 6th floor.
At 12:30 p.m.
12:30 p.m. exactly. He'll then run to the back of the 6th floor. He'll ditch the rifle.
Yep.
And then he'll make his way down the back stairs. Okay. We know that Vicki Adams came down the stairs almost immediately after the shooting. She never sees Oswald going down the stairs because Oswald, well, he didn't work in the damn building, and he definitely didn't come down any stairs. The shooters who were on the 6th floor came down in the elevator because the power was turned back on. Okay. So.
She didn't see them, though.
No, because they came down after. She comes down the stairs, sees Billy Lovelady and Bill
Mess with
Shelley.
the switches.
Yep, heads out the back door. They come down the elevator probably split second after that. And then from there, they go out the back door, and Lawrence Howard, who owned a green Nash Rambler station wagon, a green Nash Rambler seen multiple times by multiple witnesses, they will take off, loop around Commerce Street, and park over on Record Street. About a minute later, Lauren Hall, who's the 3rd man in the building, or the 4th man in the building, actually, he'll emerge from the back of the building, and he's seen by a woman named Velma. A couple other people, too, but Velma's the best witness for him. From there, he will ditch his rifle, which is a Johnson 30-06. And then he will basically walk over to Commerce Street, get into the green Nash Rambler station wagon. We know he has a 30-06 rifle because they've never given us an explanation to this, and this doesn't appear in anything official story, but the authorities found a Johnson 30-06 rifle in Dealey Plaza. Less than 24 hours later, like the next afternoon on the 23rd, they had the entire backstory to the rifle. How the rifle got to Dealey Plaza was basically Lauren Hall and Jerry Hemming. They had the rifle. It was Jerry Hemming's rifle. They brought it to a guy named Richard Hathcock, who ran Allied Detective Agency in Los Angeles. They needed some money because they're like a bunch of mercenaries and they're doing some anti-Castro Cuban like talking tours. So like, we need some money. So they pawned the rifle to this guy for like $100. About a month before the assassination, Lauren Hall will go to Richard Hathcock and he will get the rifle back from him. He stays in Los Angeles about 3 more weeks, and about 5 days before the assassination, he tells Richard Hathcock he's going to Dallas. Okay?
Okay.
So the important point here is that within 24 hours of the assassination, the FBI had the full backstory to this rifle, including everything I just said about Richard Hathcock, the connection to Jerry Hemming and Lauren Hall and all that stuff. And conveniently, all that information didn't make it into the Warren Commission. But that rifle traced right back to Lauren Hall, who I put as the second shooter on the 6th floor, along with Lawrence Howard. Now, how do I know that Lawrence Howard was the shooter on the 6th floor?
Should we pull this up on your PowerPoint? If you have it.
You know something?
Because we're mentioning a lot of names, and the chat, they're probably like, what the hell's going on here? Because we've mentioned so many different names, and I don't want them to get confused.
Jump to the PowerPoint, I'll go ahead and I'll run through that now.
Yeah, because we mentioned a lot of names. But while they do that, let me just, okay. Let's go through the timeline. 1229, the power comes out. The power goes down at the book depository.
Yes.
12:30, shots are fired.
Yes.
Shortly thereafter, between 12:30 to like 12:33, 12:34, guys are running out of the building.
Yes.
William Seymour, who is a Oswald lookalike,
Yes.
is there right after the shooting outside,
Yes.
making a signal to the detective.
Yes.
The detective apprehends, whether we know, known to him or not, two individuals who were CIA operatives out of the JMWAVE station.
Managed by JMWAVE.
Managed. They're assigned to they're assigned to and or managed by the JMWAVE
Correct.
CIA station. On top of that, the individuals that were also there, Lawrence
Howard.
Lawrence Howard.
He's the pockmarked face,
the Hispanic fat guy.
Right.
William Seymour, and the third guy,
Lauren Hall.
These guys are also assigned to the CIA office out of Miami, Florida, JMWAVE.
Well, I don't know that I would say that they're assigned there, but their handlers were.
Or were from there.
Right.
So representative of the JMWAVE.
Correct.
Essentially, long story short, we got somewhere between 3 to 5 CIA operatives loosely affiliated with the JMWAVE CIA station out of Miami, Florida, in Dallas on that day.
Right.
At the location.
Right. And their core relationships are based in New Orleans. That's where
Gotcha.
the New Orleans clique is. These guys are all part of this New Orleans clique.
Gotcha. But they were in Dallas to do this hit that day.
One thing you have to understand is that all of New Orleans, well, particularly the propaganda stuff, they did a ton of Latin American propaganda, trying to overthrow communists and all this stuff they did down there. And that was all managed by JMWAVE out of Miami, even though it was in New Orleans.
Gotcha.
So let me pause right here. And before you got that,
do you want me to pull up the? Yeah, let's pull up the thing. And shout out to DPG with the big $300 super chat. By the way, I appreciate you, DPG. He's right here in studio. Shout out to you, man. He goes, shout out. No big shout out. No big shout out to OSS in the house. We do it live. I think you mean a big shout out to right or no big shout out.
No big shout out.
Oh no big. Oh gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much, DPG. We have the thing you said here.
Oh, I don't see it yet.
We'll pull up the PowerPoint right now.
All right, let me tell. While you're pulling that up, let me tell. All right, let me tell you a quick interlude, which kind of, to me, is the absolute proof that the CIA was setting Oswald up when he was doing his communist stuff in New Orleans. Okay, so we have a guy in New Orleans named William Gaudet. He is a card-carrying employee of the CIA. He runs the Latin American Report, which is South American and Caribbean propaganda.
His name?
William Gaudet. Gaudet. You're not going to find any pictures.
Okay.
So William Gaudet is a card-carrying CIA agent. He is in charge of Latin American propaganda out of New Orleans. What does that mean? That means his boss is Joe Anitas out of JMWAVE, the guy who was in charge of all the Latin American propaganda. Direct relationship between these two. So when Oswald gets on television, the series of events that happens, Gaudet, who mysteriously knows everything about Oswald, Arcacha, Howard, knows everything about all these guys, but just what he heard through the grapevine is what he tells Jim Garrison. He sees Oswald out on the street handing out the flyers. He then contacts a guy named Jesse Core. Jesse Core is the main PR guy at the International Trade Mart, which is the CIA operation that was run by Clay Shaw. Okay? Jesse Core will then call a guy named John Corporan. John Corporan works for WDSU. He's in charge at WDSU, which is the TV, and they have a radio station. He's the guy who gets Oswald on television. So the series of events, starting with William Gaudet, whose boss is Joe Anitas from JMWAVE, he's the guy that basically began the series of events that got Oswald on television, which tells me the CIA intentionally got Oswald on television. John Corporan at WDSU.
To sell this narrative that he's a hardcore communist.
Right.
Because he's on the TV. I remember the clip. We can even try pulling up YouTube. Lee Harvey Oswald, Marxist-Leninist. It's out there on TV. Like he said, and he says that he's one of these guys.
So the entire chain of events of the guys who got Oswald on television started with the CIA. And it ended with the CIA. Now, how do I know that John Corporan is CIA? He works for NBC, which is WDSU down there. But how do I know he's CIA? When David Ferrie got arrested on the Monday after the assassination, John Corporan was the only person allowed in to go talk to David Ferrie. The only person. And he's also the guy who got Oswald on television directly at WDSU. It's unbelievable. Like when you come to really understand the entrenchment of the CIA and how deep they actually went to get Oswald on television.
That's it right there, I think. That's it, right?
That's one of them. You can play that one. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
real quick, we'll play it for you guys. Just so here he is on TV.
You got sound?
Yeah, we should have some sound.
No, sir, I'm not a communist.
Yep, there he is.
Okay.
And I think that the red herring and so forth is rather ridiculous to toss into conversation.
Then are you a Marxist?
Well, I have studied Marxist philosophy, yes, sir, and also other philosophers.
But are you a Marxist? I think you did admit that you consider yourself a
Well,
Marxist.
I would very definitely say that I am a Marxist. That is correct. But that does not mean, however, that I'm a communist.
Yeah, so that's a whole, I mean, that's an act.
And basically, someone from the CIA put him on this show, is what you're saying. What was the guy's name again?
Well, it's, John Corporan was the guy at WDSU. And to me, the most shocking thing in the world and the evidence of his being CIA is he was the only guy let in to see David Ferrie when David Ferrie gets arrested on that Monday after the assassination.
Gotcha.
Which is crazy because after that, he was interrogated for like a day or two by Secret Service, FBI, everybody else. So they're not going to let just some Joe Schmo in there from a news station to go in there and talk to him.
Yep.
So everybody's CIA. In the 60s, everyone's CIA. It's like my parents were probably CIA.
I think the biggest takeaway, because we named so many names here, but what they need to understand, I guess, for the purposes of understanding this is, number one, power went out on the 29th, right?
Right.
Excuse me, at 12:29 on November 22nd, 1963. 12:30, the shots ring out. Shortly thereafter, three of the shooters that were at the book depository are scurrying out of there, trying to get out. One of those guys makes a head nod to the detective when the detective had said in his report he was supposed to be there 10 minutes before. We actually see him on scene with video footage prior. And then that detective, whether he knew or not, he had detained or arrested individuals who, people related to the JMWAVE, as well as these other dudes that were the shooters. So we got 5 to 6 individuals there that have ties to the CIA out of the JMWAVE station.
Probably way more than that, because one thing nobody ever talks about.
But we know
is
confirmed.
Confirmed, yeah. Well,
what are their names one more time?
Confirmed for me.
Lawrence
Howard, Lauren Hall, William Seymour, Sergio Arcacha.
Those 4 we know for a fact JMWAVE tied.
3 shooters and William Seymour, a spotter inside the building guarding the elevators.
Bam. Okay.
There you go. That's the book depository.
There you go.
So
memorize those names, Chad. Those are important names. Those the 3 shooters and a lookout. And the lookout looks like Oswald, William Seymour.
Yes.
And the 3 shooters are the guys that we showed you guys. If we could pull up that Google picture one more time where they're all there. Yep. So William Seymour on the far right, Lawrence Fishburne, you can't see his face, but he's the one with the head back. Excuse me, I said Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Howard, and then you can see the other guy is the one that's facing with the finger up. That's Lawrence Hall, or do you see that?
Lawrence Howard, Lauren Hall.
There you go.
And then the guy on the far right, the short
William
guy,
Seymour.
William Seymour. Yeah.
Okay, and they were all there on that day. Okay.
Yep, they sure were.
All right, that's a big deal. And they were based out of New Orleans, but also loosely affiliated with the CIA station out of Miami.
Correct.
Okay. Chad, does that make sense? I know we threw a lot out to you guys right there, but that kind of explains the depository. Give me ones if that makes sense, guys, because we still have more stuff to get around, but give me ones if that makes sense so you guys understand that. If it doesn't make sense, give it 2 and then tell me why, and then Cory can, or if you got a question, get it in now so that Cory can answer it for you guys. Because this is a very complex thing, which they want this on purpose to be complex. The goal here was to not get caught and make it as confusing as possible.
Like that's
You're shooting a U.S. president. You know what I mean?
One of the most important concepts anybody could ever come to understand is plausible deniability. That's everything the CIA does, from using fake names to whatever. It's all about plausible deniability, which is basically them being able to say, we didn't do it, and this evidence doesn't indicate we did it.
Yep.
No matter how egregious it is.
Okay. All right. What's the do we have any chats, super chats or anything, or we keep going? Yeah, we can read the chats because some of them might have questions. Guys, don't be retarded. If you're gonna put a 2 in the chat, you need to tell me why it's a 2. What confuses you?
And then Sir Rock No Diddy.
Okay, what do you say?
Gifted 20 subs.
Shout out to you, man. Thank you, Sir Rock No Diddy. Yeah, what I'm thinking is we might do is like move everybody over to Marion Gaines X on Rumble here in a second from Fresh and Fit. But IA says, hey Mark, did you see that Jake Lane guy who led the March to Michigan is preparing a $50 million lawsuit for a couple? Yeah, it's hilarious, bro. It'll never work. He's a public figure, bro.
Oh, some Jusu and somebody?
Yeah, pretty much. He threatened to do it, but dude, you're a public figure. Defamation is tough. Okay, Blue says, will Cory Hughes ever cover the Charlie Kirk assassination?
No, it happened after 1968, and to me, the world ended in 1968. So,
Debbie Marin from Yale, thank you. What else do we got here? That's it?
I'll just say this. Until proven otherwise, Israel did it.
There you go.
I mean, and I'm not just saying that to be a dick. History has told us they've been behind every horrific act on the planet for almost 100 fucking years, even before there was an Israel. So, yeah, if until I'm, everything is Israel until someone has evidence to the contrary.
All right. Guilty till proven innocent. Cory, I'm sure it will come up in the slides, but if not, can you talk about the significance of Purim tradition and the people dressed in Purim outfits during the assassination?
Okay. So,
what is Purim?
Purim is a Jewish holiday, and it is the story of Purim comes from the Book of Esther.
Oh.
The Book of Esther is a book that is meant to show, it's a story about the salvation of the Jewish people. Okay, so you have an evil Achaemenid Persian Empire official named Haman, and he puts out a decree to kill all the Jews, right? So the story goes, the Jews all fasted, got together and prayed, and then God killed like 70,000 people in the kingdom, including, and then Haman got hung, and then the Jews got to take over Haman's position, and God saved the Jewish people. What it really is a story of Jewish brutality. Anytime they don't get their way, they just fucking murder everybody. And that's what they did in the Book of Esther.
Gotcha.
And so to celebrate that, they have a holiday called Purim. And ultimately, it is the Jewish Halloween. That's where you see like costumes. But the rabbinical element for Purim have very specific robes and outfits that they wear. I do actually have this in my slide presentation. I mean, it might take you a minute to flip to it, but
okay. We can pull it up if you want us to. What
no,
do you know?
I don't think it's necessary.
Is that necessary? Okay. Anything else? Okay, so
in
all right, so we covered the
Dealey
book.
Plaza that day. There are clearly at least 3 rabbis in Purim ceremonial robes that you can see
Gotcha.
in an uncensored photograph from
Weren't
the
there
Robert
2
Hughes
from that
film.
Hughes video we just saw, or no? I think you said they're Hasidic Jews.
So
but-
those are different Jews.
Okay.
Those are the Hasidics back there. But see, there's another. I have another photograph of a huge group of Jews back behind the railroad area. It's not in my presentation, but they're everywhere. They were saturated in that area. There's even Jews wearing these uniforms that have like the police hats, the flat kind of like the big in the front and kind of flat on top.
Okay.
And I can't really associate with them with anything or anybody, but they're hanging out with a bunch of other Jews back there in the traditional Jewish garb.
Well, I do think it's important. We might as well tackle this right now, real quick. The people that brought Kennedy for that day, it wasn't even an official visit, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it like the Texas City Council that sponsored this, or
no?
and their B'nai Birth, or
the entire trip to Dallas started with Jack Valenti, who I believe is the shooter on the Knoll. Actually, I know he's the shooter on the Knoll.
We could pull him up too.
Jack Valenti sent the first letter to Kennedy inviting him to Texas to go to Houston, I believe, to attend the Albert Thomas dinner. Albert Thomas is a Texas congressman and friend of John Kennedy. And so he was invited to Texas to go to this dinner. And so once he accepted the dinner invitation, they added on to that 2 or 3 days of him driving through, I think it was Austin, Houston,
here
and
he is
Dallas.
right here. This is Jack Valenti. Very important name, by the way.
Yeah.
You guys are going to hear it. We're going to bring him up a couple of times.
So Jack Valenti sent the letter that brought him there in the first place.
Wow.
Jack Valenti had also handled his 1960 campaign. He handled Johnson's campaign back in 56. He had been entrenched with the Texas, well, everybody really. Jack Valenti's like the center of the universe. He got connected to Lyndon Johnson in 56. And from there, he gets into this sphere of influence. He has a company called Weekly and Valenti, which is a PR/advertising firm. And so the series of events is Jack Valenti will send that letter. They'll set up the whole trip. Jack Valenti will actually handle all of the arrangements for everything, meaning like he booked all the venues, he arranged all the dinners, all the hotel accommodations. If you ask me, the story of Kennedy is the Jack Valenti story. Jack Valenti was entrenched in every single aspect of bringing Kennedy to Texas, all the events he handled, and then shooting him from the grassy knoll. To me, it's the Jack Valenti story, and I feel it was some sort of rite of passage. I think they do that for these guys, for certain people.
So click this photo right here, because this is a very famous photograph. As you guys can see here, this is Lyndon B. Johnson being sworn in as president hours after Kennedy was killed. And you can see Jack Valenti right there on the left-hand side. You can see him there. And if you look, he's a bit disheveled.
Yes.
Right there, he's sitting down on the left. There he is right there. If you could zoom in on that. And if we zoom in on him, look at him.
Yeah.
Bro looks like he just went through it. But this is the guy that you said was the one that hit the kill shot, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That right there is John F. Kennedy's murderer, my friends.
I had sent in that telegram. If you pull up that telegram with a PDF SAR, there's a single image. If you could pull up that single.
It's either.
We can pull it. Yeah. Right there on the left hand side.
Is it this?
No.
That's the other slide?
If you go into the telegram, there's a single photograph along with those two PDFs.
Okay. I see.
You see it?
I got it.
All right.
You'll see it.
Shout out to Bills and Mo in the back, by the way, on the ones and twos. I know I'm not making it easy on you guys pulling up all these people.
Here it is.
All right. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So, this right here is McIntyre photo number 2. There's the people who this depicts are not the people who it's supposed to be. Number 1 and number 2 is Jack Valenti after he shot Kennedy from the Knoll, escaping on the Secret Service car. Number 2, that's David Morales. David Morales was one of the top guys at the JMWAVE station. He was one of the top 3 guys at JMWAVE. So what does this mean? This photograph indicates the Secret Service was completely in on this assassination with the CIA. Not only that, number 5 and number 7, 2 guys, 5 and 7. It's kind of hard to see 7. He's kind of covered by 10. But 5 and 7 are Dave Powers and Kenny O'Donnell. Those were 2 of Kennedy's best friends in the world. He'd known them for years. They were family to him. And they never came forward and said a damn thing about Jack Valenti and David Morales being on the side of the Secret Service car, ever.
And these guys are not Secret Service agents. What the hell are they doing on the car?
They were,
yeah.
well, they were, exactly.
Like Jack Valenti, just so you guys know, Jack Valenti came from like the movie industry. Wasn't he
Well,
responsible
he goes
for the
to
ratings?
the movie industry. So,
after.
Yeah, so the story of Jack Valenti is wild because it's obvious he's groomed from the time he's a child. He gets a job working for Humble Oil when he's like 15 years old as a hall boy, which is like delivering mail and stuff. Humble Oil, run by Prescott Bush and George Bush. Jack Valenti knew these guys from the time he was 15 years old, okay? He's like 41 or 42 at this point. So this guy's been groomed his whole life. He worked for Humble Oil. He knew George de Mohrenschildt, who was Oswald's handler in Dallas. And so what happens with him is he will leave to go off to World War II. He's allegedly a bomber pilot, flew 51 bombing missions. I don't believe that story whatsoever. I have a lot of evidence of what he actually did, and he did do some flying stuff, but the 51 bombing missions, I think, is just totally made up. So he will get back from the war. He'll go back to work for Humble Oil. And then in 1951 or 52, he opens Weekly and Valenti, which is an advertising PR firm. Right from the jump, his number 1 client is Continental Oil. So he starts a business and immediately gets one of the biggest oil companies in the whole world. That's shocking to me. That means he was basically, I feel like, groomed from the time he was a child. When he got prepared, he opened a business and they basically handed him clients. Okay. Now, I believe at this time, Weekly is managing the business and Valenti is actually doing CIA stuff. Okay. What he's doing, I don't know. But there's some interesting things and contradictions in that history of him that I haven't been able to work out yet. But after that, by 56, he is hanging with Lyndon Johnson. He seems to know everybody in Texas.
President Lyndon B. Johnson, who would come in and be the successor.
Right, but before, way before.
When he was he a senator or congressman before?
He never won an election. The guy was a fraud.
Lyndon B. Johnson,
he stole everything he ever had. He's a Jewish puppet. He was implanted by the Israelis.
Yeah.
And so he and Johnson, let me see, this is 56. Fast forward through 1960, he gets all the election campaign stuff. By 63, he's still really technically on paper, he's supposed to be a nobody, right? The assassination goes down. Valenti, his whole story is bunk. We have him there on the side of the Secret Service car.
Yeah, that's crazy that he was on the side. Because the important thing is, for the audience that doesn't know, he was not on the Secret Service vehicle first. Should we show them the before and after photo?
If it's there.
It should be on your PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's in the PowerPoint. If you bring up the PowerPoint and flip through a bunch of pages, I can show you in there.
Yeah, because I do think it's important that they look at the Secret Service agents that were on the vehicle before and then after the shooting.
Right.
First, it was all agents.
Yes, just scroll through that. You can go pretty quick. I think we got a bunch to go. All right, slow down. Keep going. You can keep going and skip all this stuff. Go back to that picture there. That's David Ferrie in the railroad yards, just to show you. That's right after the assassination, too. All right, keep scrolling down. That's his boys, Alvin Bobouf and those guys in Dealey Plaza. All right, actually, no, we'll just take it from here, and I'll continue on from right here, because this is right where the first shots happen.
Okay.
So right here, this is where the first shots come out of. Well, the first shot actually came from David Ferrie at the fence, but the shots from the book depository came from right here, and on the other side by Lawrence Howard and Lauren Hall. Okay, so you can move through this one. All right, here, this is a problem. So if you'll notice on this document right here, on the left-hand side is the original document. It says that they collected 2 shell casings underneath the window. This is the crime scene report. Okay. All right. The crime scene report was altered. It now says that the newer version says 3, right? And it's not even printed. Somebody took a pen and just wrote the number 3 over the number 2. You see that?
Let's see here.
6.5 rounds, 2, and then they changed it to 3. Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
There's no evidence there was ever 3 rounds under the window. There's only evidence of 2 rounds under the window. But we have some contradictory reports that said there were 3 rounds under the window, which is, I still can't really figure out how. Because even the photographs we have show 2 rounds and a full live round, 2 casings and a full live round. But this is the proof of that. So you can keep scrolling through this. You can scroll through the next couple pretty quickly. This is just showing that there were 2 rounds, not 3. All the documentation. Stop right here. This is the first and only photo we have of rounds after they were collected, and there's only 2, and there's a full round right there. So you have 2 shells in a round. Where's the third? The third doesn't appear until November 27th. There's no reference to a third round.
5 days later.
No reference to a third round until November 27th, when Vince Drain, who's an FBI agent, collects it from Fritz, who's the one of the lead of homicide. Keep scrolling. Yeah, we go. See, like right here on November 27th, this is Fritz saying that he basically kept the round in his possession. It doesn't make any sense why he did that. Obviously, they did it because they planted a third. They were never 3. They planted 2. They realized they needed a third one, so they fixed the story 5 days later.
That's crazy.
Keep scrolling. All right, stop right here. Oh, scroll up a little more because I'm blocking it right there. If you can take us off, I mean, that's what I need you to see is underneath us.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Move our picture.
All right, scroll down. All right, there's the shooter under the Dal Tex. You see him you see that square?
Oh, you can see the remnants of a face right there under the stair. Okay.
That's where that's Emilio Santana. That's the shooter that was at the Dal Tex underneath the fire escape. You can ignore all the other squares. That's just my paranoia.
And this is, just so we know, that vehicle right there with the Secret Service agent sitting on the side, standing on it.
Yeah.
That's the vehicle that we eventually see Jack Valenti on later.
Yes. See the 2 guys?
So make note of who's on there now.
Yes. There are 2 white guys, and they're both 6 foot tall.
Yep.
They're both 6 foot tall. They're the same height.
Yep.
Okay. Keep scrolling through this. Santana will fire 3, actually it's more like 5 shots from there instead of 4. He fired a whole bunch. And that's just showing the ledge underneath the Dal Tex fire escape. Keep going. Okay. The Dal Tex was run by Jews. That's what this is. That's what this is. Was determined by Jim Garrison. All the businesses there were Jewish businesses. They were running scams out of there.
Oh, it gets even. If I'm not mistaken, the Dal Tex building was owned by Abraham Zapruder, right?
He was okay. So I've come across multiple lists of who the actual owners were. He was on one of the lists, but not on other lists.
Or didn't he have run a business out of there?
He did run a business,
a garment business,
the Maryland Belt Company.
Okay,
and he had a garment business.
And what you guys are probably wondering, Myra, why the fuck do we care about Abraham Zapruder? Abraham Zapruder is the guy that took the video, the famous video that you guys all see where Kenny gets shot, which didn't actually come out until the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, never saw the Zapruder film, and he was killed in '68.
Until, that's right. The first place it was ever shown was during the Clay Shaw trial that Jim Garrison had in '68. Which was, yes. So Robert Kennedy's killed. then it's shown in court.
Gotcha.
So he never saw it.
So the Zapruder film, guys, and Zapruder made $150,000 selling this film, by the way, guys. So he was there and actually recorded the shooting.
Scroll down just a little
In the
so I can get to
perfect
the bottom
location.
sentences. So this is important here. It says the Dal Tex Building seems to have been and is some sort of Jewish family affair. At least they were mixed up in each other's businesses, etc. They're all mixed up in all kinds of things which don't show up in the records, uranium, etc. Haven't been able to find oil yet, but I'm still looking. Okay, so the reference to uranium here, these Jews in this Dal Tex Building were running a company called the Texas Uranium Mining Company. It was a straight scam. They bought a huge plot of land. They leased it out to all kinds of people saying there was uranium there, and there never was uranium. Ever. They just fucking scammed everybody.
Yeah.
Fucking typical.
Real quick, could we? Do you have a map that shows where the book depository was versus the Dal Tex Building?
Ooh, there might be one in there.
You could probably Google it if you type.
They're
in,
right next to each other. Off
Yeah, they're
Houston.
literally right now because I want to show the people physically. So 2 things for me, Bills. Pull up the type in Dallas book depository and then Dal Tex like map, and it'll show where they are, and JFK, and it'll probably show them like highlighted somewhere because this is very popular. And then we'll also show the who Abraham Zapruder is. Mo, if you could pull that up, I'll show you guys who Abraham Zapruder is. I think he sold it to like Time Magazine, that film, for like $150K or some shit like that.
He actually, the family just this year got like 16 million.
The Zapruder family?
Yeah, they're fucking Jews. They just get their money over and over again.
Holy shit. Okay. All right. So on the map here, so here it is. This is the Dal Tex Building, and then where is that in relation to the book depository? You want to zoom in here? Because the book depository is on the other corner, right? Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
Yep. Keep going to. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So that's the Dal Tex on the right.
Okay.
And that's the book depository on the left.
Gotcha.
The
Literally across the street from each other.
Right now, the Dal Tex is actually condos. You can actually buy an apartment on the 3rd floor.
Oh shit!
I know.
Okay, so the Dal Tex Building, so they're literally right next door to each other across the street. Now, in the Dal Tex Building, type in Abraham Zapruder, and then we'll show you his Wikipedia page. That's for Cory. Oh, it's for me. Okay. Yeah, we'll get some more.
I got one.
You want
I'm
more?
good.
Oh, you got enough? Okay. So here's Abraham Zapruder, guys. This is the guy that took the famous video. And if you're wondering, yes, he is one of them boys. And he had a business out of the Dal Tex Building.
Right, and he was close associates with Morris
Birth?
Jaffe and Sam Bloom and a whole bunch of other guys who were super important in Dallas, who all were connected to the Dal Tex. But not only the Dal Tex, they're connected to what's called the Dallas Citizens Council.
Bam, there you go.
The
Sam
Dallas-
Bloom was the head of that, right?
I don't know if he was the head, but he was a big shot in that organization. But you know who else was?
Type in Sam Bloom, please.
Jack Valenti. Jack Valenti was a member of the Dallas Citizens Council, which is weird because he didn't live in Dallas. He lived in Houston. The Dallas Citizens Council revolved around these Jewish businessmen, and they're a little clique in Dallas. Like
Yeah. They're like all B'nai Birth, right? These guys? From what I understood, Sam Bloom, Abraham Zapruder, these guys were all
right. And for people who don't know, B'nai B'rith is it's Jewish Masons.
Yeah.
It's Masons are Jewish anyway, but it's the overt Jewish Masons.
Mm-hmm. This is him right here. This is Sam Bloom. What was his? Do we have a wiki for him? We might have a wiki for him somewhere. Because I think he was a famous or a very well-known businessman in Dallas.
He was very famous in Dallas. He's connected to all kinds of people who pop up later in the assassination story. Like there's a woman named Elizabeth Forsling Harris, came out in the 80s to give Jack Valenti an alibi. So, yeah, like 30 years after or 20 years after the assassination, it was on the 25th anniversary. She writes an article where she tells her story, and it's all about being with Jack Valenti during the assassination. So let me debunk Jack Valenti's alibi real quick. Jack Valenti, who I'm saying is the shooter on the Knoll, who caught a ride to Parkland Hospital on the Secret Service car.
Because we saw him on the car after.
Right. He's there with David Morales and all the other Secret Service guys covered it up.
You know what? I really want to show while you cover the thing. Remember to have the picture we had with Jack Valenti on the car? Pull that up, Bills, and then also show us side by side with what the car looked like before and after. That's very important so the audience sees that you got some Secret Service agents here before the shots are fired, then after the shots are fired and the pandemonium ensues, who's on the vehicle after. And you'll see Jack Valenti there, who's short, by the way. You can see because his receding hairline and also that he's shorter than the other guys.
Right, exactly.
So that's how you know.
So Jack Valenti's official story.
Yeah.
Jack claims he was on, well, his story changed multiple times over the years. His first iteration of the story, he said that he was about 5 cars behind Kennedy in an open car. Okay, that's story number 1. Then he says he was about 6 or 7 cars behind Kennedy in a small van. Then he says that he was in a bus, a full-size Continental Trailways Silver Eagle. And that's where the official story puts him. If you look up the motorcade and where people were in the motorcade, what you'll find is that the 24th vehicle in the motorcade was a large Continental Trailways Silver Eagle. On that bus, you have all of the secretaries who worked for Kennedy and Johnson. You have Pam Gallagher and Pamela Turner, Mary Gallagher, Evelyn Lincoln. All the secretaries are on this bus. Okay, Jack Valenti, in the interviews he gave, will eventually, after changing his story from being in the car to a van, he'll put himself in this bus and he'll claim that he was with the secretaries. He will claim that once the shooting happens, the bus that he's on with all the secretaries will make its way to the Trade Mart, which is where Kennedy was going to speak. Okay. So he then tells a very detailed story about they meet a trooper and they get in his car and they all pile in and they head over to Parkland. The problem is when you go into all the statements of all the secretaries, there were 5 of them and the trooper. That's 6 people in a 2-seated car.
I was going to tell you, we have the pictures side by side. If the audience can pay attention here, zoom in a little bit if we can, Bills. So if you guys look, this is after the shooting. You can see Jack Valenti right there on the bottom left.
See how short he is?
See how short he is compared to other Secret Service agents. Now let's show you guys before the shooting who was on that vehicle. If we zoom in.
Zoom in there. These guys are 2 white guys and they're Secret Service agents. They don't have a mustache.
Yeah,
okay?
and you can see Jack Valenti is not on the car. So how the hell did this guy?
So that is Jack Reedy and Paul Landis are the 2 guys.
Okay, that got off.
Yeah, they get into the car.
Okay.
Okay. The guy
to make space for the
just to let you know, Paul Landis is still alive. He's one of 2 people still alive in this whole case who could be interviewed.
Oh shit.
He came out last year and said that he planted the magic bullet. Why he said that, I don't know. It's such blatant BS.
I remember that you said that you wanted to confront him. Did you get a chance or no?
No. William Seymour, too. He's still alive also. The last 2, Paul Landis and William Seymour, still alive.
Bro, we need to talk to them.
Yes.
We need to talk to them.
Yes. I can get you their data. I can get you their info.
Okay. So
I'm not a guy who does interviews like that. I'm a data miner, you know?
Okay. Well, okay. So guys, pay attention, audience here. So if you guys can see here, see number 1 there, that's Jack Valenti. You can see here, you can see the receding hairline. You can see that he's short. That's him on the vehicle. He's not a Secret Service agent. This is right after the shooting.
Right.
And then prior to the shooting, if we show, zoom in, the 2 guys on the left-hand side, and you can see Jack Valenti is nowhere on this vehicle before.
The 2 guys on the right side, the passenger side of the Secret Service car, are 2 pale-ass white guys who are 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And when you go back to the other photo, and if you could, actually, you can skip past, actually, go back to the photo before. Go back to this last one. Now scroll down. Just keep scrolling. Yeah, scroll a whole bunch. I got some stuff in there I want to show you in regards to this. Keep going, keep going. Damn, I forgot how prolific my notes were. All right, keep going. We're almost there. All right, that's the coded messages. Keep going. We're almost to the pictures. We're almost there, almost there. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go.
No, you're good.
So,
okay, perfect.
These are the guys. This is the 3 and 4 are the guys who will hop into the Secret Service car and be replaced by Jack Valenti and David Morales.
Okay, and then
go to the next one. Yep. You can skip past this too. I got all the other pictures coming up. So right here, this is the president's limo. That is Clint Hill, the Secret Service agent who hops on the back of the limo.
He just died this year, right?
Yes.
He died a few months ago.
He never opened his mouth, and he had to have known, just like the other guys, what was going on.
Okay.
You know, so keep going. Keep going, keep going. All right, stop right here. That one right here, this is McIntyre number 1, okay?
The photo is called McIntyre, guys.
Right, the photo is McIntyre number 1. Mm-hmm. If you scroll down to the next one, you'll see a zoom in on it, okay? Right here. So now you'll see on the left-hand side of the Secret Service car, there's only 1 person. There's no longer 2 people there. There's only 1, and the guy has got a flat top, okay? Paul Landis doesn't have a flat top. Paul Landis has a very rounded haircut, like almost glued to his head, you know? Keep going. All right. All right, keep going. All right, so here we are. And so
they do the switcheroo.
Switcheroo happens. The 2 guys hop in. The guy with the flat top we just saw in that photo is David Morales, the one on the back. So that means that between McIntyre number 1 and McIntyre number 2, somehow Jack Valenti will make his way onto the Secret Service car.
Yep.
Okay.
Alongside this other guy.
Who is David Morales,
David
who
Morales.
works for the CIA at a JMWAVE.
And it's important that you guys understand these dudes are not Secret Service agents. What the fuck are they doing on this
they're
car?
not Secret Service agents. Keep scrolling.
Wow.
Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, right there. See? Go up. Yeah, look at these guys. Scroll up a little more just so you can see their heads. Look at these guys. 6 foot tall white guys.
Yeah.
Right? Clearly not the same people who are on the side of the Secret Service car. All right,
Yep.
keep going. Keep scrolling. Keep going. Keep going.
So they're the ones on
All
it
right,
before.
and one more. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Boom.
Jack Valenti and David Morales on the side of the Secret Service car. This is your entire assassination in a single photo.
Wow. You know, and this is the attention to detail that people don't see me here. Like,
No, what I'm pissed off about is why the hell did I have to spend my whole life doing this shit when somebody, with 60 years, nobody could ever look at this goddamn picture? 60 years, nobody could look at the one fucking picture?
yeah.
I get angry every time I think about this.
Should we show? You know, do you have a map that shows the grassy knoll where Jack Valenti shot from, and then him jumping on a car like an overview map, so they can see?
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think so.
Because okay. Jack Valenti shoots it from the. Can we pull up grassy knoll? At least we can show them that. So you guys know the grassy knoll where the shot came from. So Jack shoots Kennedy, right? He shoots JFK. That's the kill shot from the grassy knoll. Drops the rifle, or he hands the rifle to somebody else, right?
No, he takes the rifle with him.
Okay.
Takes the rifle with him.
And then he runs around and catches up with the motorcade.
The series of events from when he pulls the trigger until when he's seen in that photograph is up for debate, I will say. I have my theory on what exactly happened. But I'm
the fact
open,
is, he ended up on the car.
Right.
We
I'm
see
open
that.
to change on that.
Yeah.
He opened.
Here's the grassy knoll right here.
Yep. That's the knoll.
Okay. And then you guys can see the overpasses to the left.
I place him.
And you guys picked up.
I place him somewhere. I can't exactly pinpoint where because the witnesses who saw David Ferrie, a guy named Ed Hoffman, who clearly saw David Ferrie and the railroad man in that whole situation, he never mentions Jack Valenti. So I'm kind of. I have a little circle on the map where I know he was in an area, but I can't exactly pinpoint where he was. He had to have been in a position to where he could get to the car. What's that?
Is it in the PowerPoint?
No.
Oh, okay.
He had to have gotten to a. He had to have been in a position to where within 7 to 10 seconds he could make it to the other side of the knoll to get onto the car.
Yeah.
So
because he catches up and jumps on the car.
Right. And I had a guy email me who lives in Dallas who had a friend or a family member who was at the assassination standing right there where that car drove by.
Oh.
He says the whole story that we've been told and the pictures that we've been seeing are not authentic because he says he clearly saw a man with a rifle come out of the tunnel. I can't confirm it. No one else can confirm it. There's no other evidence at all. But it completely fits with my theory that the person went from there and got on the car.
Yeah.
But I just can't say with 100% certainty where Valenti was. He was in that area somewhere, and he had to be within 7 to 10 seconds of being able to hop onto the Secret
And the
Service
reason why
car.
this is so relevant, guys, is because the story that he gave, like the alibi he gave where he was at, that's not where he was at.
No, and it's impossible because the reason his alibi is impossible is because the 5 secretaries and a sheriff's deputy, so that's 3 people in the front, 3 people in the back, they drive from the Trade Mart to Parkland Hospital. Jack Valenti hijacks that story, says he was with them in the front seat. What would that mean? It means there's 4 people sitting in the front seat of a cop car and 3 people in the back? Okay? No, sorry, not possible. And none of the secretaries ever mentioned Jack Valenti. Let's fast forward to Elizabeth Forsling Harris 25 years later. She claims she was with all of them also sitting on Jack Valenti's lap in the front seat of the sheriff's car. Okay? That means, according to Elizabeth Forsling Harris, there's 5 people in the front bench seat of a cop car. Complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Complete bullshit.
And not only that, but we have contrary evidence right here with him literally on a Secret Service car.
Correct.
And he's not a Secret Service agent. What the hell's going on
right.
here?
So Jack Valenti on the side of the car. That car will then go to Parkland Hospital where the whole group disperses. Okay. Within a couple minutes, and he's not even supposed to be there yet. He's supposed to still be at the Trade Mart catching a ride to Parkland Hospital. But the idiot will put himself in the basement of Parkland Hospital within just a couple minutes of when he would have arrived there. So by about 12:40-ish, maybe even a little sooner than that, he's already at Parkland, and he's in the basement of Parkland where they find the magic bullet, the alleged magic bullet. because the magic bullet was the magic bullet. We're told. You guys might want to bring up the magic bullet.
Yeah. This is actually very important. So the magic bullet, guys, that we're going to talk about here. Comes from the official narrative, and it basically is this bullet hit JFK and it hit the governor of Texas. If I'm not mistaken.
7 wounds, broke ribs, broke a wrist, and it got embedded in a thigh, and then had basically 0 functional damage to it.
And the person that orchestrated this theory was Arlen Specter.
Correct.
Who's also a Jew, by the way.
Arlen Specter came up with that because despite the wounds, they had to stick to the 3-bullet story. Because
Do you want us to pull it up on Wiki or on your thing? On
Wiki.
On Wiki? Okay.
Yeah, just Wiki.
Just type in magic bullet theory, it'll come right up. On Wiki. Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
You were talking about Arlen Specter.
Arlen Specter, right. So
Or the magic
they
bullet
they were limited to 3 bullets, no matter what, because that was what they've been telling everybody. 3 bullets fired in 5.6 seconds from Marilyn Monroe from the 6th floor of the book depository through a tree, right? So the whole story is so stupid. But they had to keep all the wounds attributed to only 2 bullets because one of them missed, right?
Yes.
The first shot hits Kennedy, allegedly, and this is supposed to be the magic bullet, hits him in the back, comes out the neck, goes into Connolly, goes through Connolly, hits Connolly's right wrist, and then gets embedded in his left leg. And that's the bullet. We're told that bullet. You're law enforcement.
Yeah.
I've fired thousands of rounds at a range. Yeah. I ain't never seen a bullet look like that was fired, ever.
Yeah.
So that bullet's a fake. That bullet was planted. It was planted by, well, let me back up a little. That was not the original bullet that was planted. The original bullet that was planted by Jack Valenti when he gets pulled out of the basement of Parkland Hospital came from a 303 and it had a pointed tip. And we know this because the 2 guys who worked at Parkland, Daryl Tomlinson and O.P. Wright. Daryl Tomlinson is an orderly. And he's moving around. He's in the basement. He's moving some stretchers or whatever. And the bullet just rolls out. Okay. He then gets O.P. Wright. And O.P. Wright takes the bullet from Daryl Tomlinson. They hand it off to Secret Service agent Richard Johnson. Richard Johnson hands it over to his superiors. And it makes its way to the FBI. Okay.
That chain of custody is so fucked up.
It's fucked up. Josiah Thompson, who wrote the book 6 Seconds in Dallas, he goes back and interviews these guys, O.P. Wright and Daryl Tomlinson. They, in no uncertain terms, explained to him that it was a pointed tip bullet. And O.P. Wright was actually a hunter. And he goes into his desk and he pulls out from his desk a 303 round. And he hands it to him. He goes, this is exactly what it looked like. So the FBI, when they got it in their possession, they swapped it from the original 303 pointed tip bullet to the Carcana round that we just saw.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, the whole concept is insane itself, that one bullet would create, 7 wounds?
Yes. So, by my calculations, there was at least 9 or 10 shots fired. It had to have been 4 to 5 from the Dal Tex Building, probably 3 from the book depository, 1 from between the Bricola and the fence, 2 from behind the fence, and then there was a shooter on the overpass who didn't shoot. So you got at least that's like 5. That's at least 7 or 8, possibly 9, possibly more. Plus, then you have
what did witnesses there say? That did they say it was 3 shots, or did they say it was more?
It depends on who you talk to.
Okay.
Some people. One thing I have to point out: when you look at all the pictures of Dealey Plaza, we only have statements from like 10 people.
Oh, but there were like hundreds there.
Right. Exactly. So they haven't even bothered to identify the vast majority of people who were in Dealey Plaza. So we don't even have any idea. I believe the vast majority of the people in Dealey Plaza were in the know, aware it was going to happen. Like a whole bunch of Jews in Dealey Plaza, all wearing not only the ceremonial robes, but just traditional, formal Jewish garb of the era.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So we came up with we covered Jack Valenti. He was the one that planned all of JFK's visit for this, right?
Correct.
So he knew where he was going to be every minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we know that he was lying because his alibi doesn't hold up, doesn't make sense, and we have pictures refuting what he said because he didn't say anything about being on a Secret Service vehicle.
Right.
But we have him literally right after the shooting being on the JFK, being on the Secret Service vehicle.
Feels like a good
with
place.
Another CIA guy,
right?
Morales,
yeah.
Okay.
This feels like a good point to veer off to the story of the Winterland ice skating rink.
Okay, with David Ferrie.
David Ferrie, because it'll loop back to a very important person.
Sure.
So
let's pull up David Ferrie real quick, guys.
So
2 important players, Jack Valenti, David Ferrie, and they were on the Grassy Knoll together, right? These two?
Yes.
Okay.
Or in the area, David Ferrie fired the first shot from the corner of the picket fence, strikes Kennedy in the throat. Okay?
Gotcha.
He throws his rifle to a guy named Andrew Jerome Blackman. Blackman breaks it down. He's wearing a railroad uniform. He breaks it down. He puts it in a toolbox, and they just walk off like everything's kosher.
And Valenti shoots the kill shot that blew his head out.
Right. But his exact location, I'm still questioning. I'm still kind of
You don't know where exactly the
right.
shot came from.
Yeah,
but it was from the, would it be fair to say it came from the front?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Not from the back.
It was either somewhere on the Knoll area, the little concrete portion, or maybe even in the tunnel.
And then also, guys, let's have the Zapruder film ready to go as well so we can show them. Well, you want to show them the Zapruder film real quick so they can see it? Let's show them the Zapruder film. So, guys, this film right here is the only video of the assassination. Yeah, type in Zapruder. Zapr. Or you can just type in JFK assassination video. It comes right up. It's the only video that they have, really. Yeah, it's on YouTube. And I'll show you guys real quick. It's the famous one where down and back, right, that they mentioned in the movie?
Right, back and to the left.
Back and to the left, yep. Yeah, I mean, the whole concept that he was shot from the back by Oswald from the book Depository doesn't make sense. Because you can see his head go back this way. Right. How the hell would the head go back that way if he's getting shot from the back?
Right. I'm still waiting for anyone to show me any credible evidence that Oswald ever stepped foot in that building, because I can't find any.
Yeah. We have it?
In a second.
Okay. Pull this up for you guys right now for those of you that did not see this. And it's crazy, bro, because his brother RFK never saw this video chat. He never saw it. Okay. So here he is. We can make it big on our end. There we go.
This is a tampered film. This is not.
This is not the one?
This is correct.
Okay, okay.
But
boom.
the
So
film
he gets
itself,
it the first time.
Right.
We might have to rewind it a little bit. So here he comes. And then you can see him grabbing for his neck. Jack, boom. Oh, man. So here he is, waving to the people. So he gets hit right around here. First one. And then the next shot. Bam. Back into the left. There's no way you can get shot from the back of the... Okay, and then once they get around that bridge, Jack Valenti's getting picked up on the other side.
Yep.
Okay.
So one thing that people need to also understand is that when I don't really waste any time usually going into like the medical stuff and the doctors of the Parkland. I could care less about any of that stuff. But all of them did say that he had a big hole right here in the back of his head, right? But the official story is, that big flap came off the front right here, So there is a piece of bone here. It's called the occipital parietal lobe. This chunk of skull was found in Dealey Plaza. It's called the Harper Fragment.
Okay.
And so the Harper Fragment is well acknowledged by the Warren Commission and all the other Kennedy investigative bodies. That alone contradicts the official story. That alone. You can even Google it, Harper Fragment. It'll come right up.
We could pull it up real quick. Harper Fragment.
Yeah, the Harper Fragment, JFK. It'll come right up.
Because that establishes that for that fragment to have existed, he had to have been shot from the front.
Correct. Right. And the Harper
Fragment,
I
think anyone, just like even a common person, would look at that and be like, yeah, if you get shot back and you go like that, you're going to get shot from the front. Like, how would that? How to be? Because what they're claiming, the official narrative is, Oswald was back and behind, shooting from an elevated position down on Kennedy.
Yes.
How would the head snap back like that from getting shot from the back?
Correct.
Doesn't make sense.
And not only that, the entire trunk was covered with blood and brain matter and bone.
Yep.
Jackie Kennedy, you see in the video, hops up on the back there.
Yep.
She wasn't trying to escape. A lot of people say she was trying to escape. She picked up a piece of bone or brain matter or something that she held onto and was still holding it when she was at Parkland Hospital.
Yeah.
So brain matter can't spray over the back of a trunk.
Getting shot from the back.
Exactly.
You're right. Yep.
So I personally don't really like to get into like that kind of stuff because to me everything else is so obvious. It's pointless to even talk about.
Yeah. But it's crazy because like even someone that isn't well versed in firearms or ballistics or forensics, like your head's gonna snap back when you get shot. Like
Yeah.
what the hell? Like in that manner, at least. And that was like a very powerful. What was the ammunition that he was shot with when his head snapped back like that?
It was a 303. It had to be 303.
Okay.
303 round.
Okay.
And so here's another thing. I believe they were setting.
And there's a fragment right there.
Yeah, that's the Harper fragment. That's a piece of occipital parietal bone right there.
Wow.
So that picture right there debunks the main story. I don't know what fucking world are we living in where people can't even look at this shit and say, "What's your problem?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
And even the Warren Commission acknowledges this fragment.
yes, they do, because it was found It was either found the next day or later on by a guy named Harper. That's how it got the name.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Interesting.
I was going to tell a story of the Winterland.
Yes. Okay, we can pull David Ferrie back up. Sorry, didn't mean to get
I have a
sidetracked
bunch of stuff on the Winterland in the slide presentation.
Okay, we
If
can pull that up.
Slide right, if we could scroll
Yeah,
through
yeah,
it.
let's do that. Yeah, whatever you want, man. Like I said, I'm just trying to illustrate it for people because we're naming a lot of names, and a lot of these people might not be familiar with all of these, intricate details. So I want to make sure they have a visual so they know what you're talking about. So, is it down, up?
Yeah, scroll. Go down. Probably a bunch. What slide number are you on? You gotta skip like 100.
Very thorough.
Well, just these two presentations alone are like 1,200 pages.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So while you're looking for that, I'll show my book right quick.
Mhm.
This is my newest book, Lee Harvey Oswald in black and white. It is a very different format from any other book you ever read. When you flip through it, it's all pictures, and it's all got all the documents and stuff, right? This book will melt your brain.
Yeah.
When you come to see
we
the
got to talk
content-
about the
Yeah, we-
Office of Naval Intelligence stuff.
Right.
Too.
We'll get to this after we do
Yeah.
the Winterland stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's a lot of
All right, keep scrolling.
information.
Keep scrolling. A lot. Like a lot more. Actually, not too much more, but enough. That stuff's all tippet shooting stuff.
Hey guys, do me a favor while we wait for this. Smash the goddamn like button, man. We're giving you guys probably the most thorough breakdown of this shooting that I've ever seen on YouTube.
All
If you're watching on YouTube, give it a smash. We're demonetized on here for telling the truth, so smash the like button on YouTube.
Man, keep going, like 50 more pages or something. Yeah, probably.
If you're watching
I
on
can
Rumble,
tell you-
smash the like button.
All right, stop. Try there. Oh no, keep going. Sorry, that's man. We've breezed through like the Texas Theater on there and the Three Tramps. No, it's this one. It's this one for sure. Yeah. It's going to be like, there we go. Winterland Ice Arena. All right, this is it right here. And you can just scroll through these one at a time once it gets going. All right, so the Winterland Ice Arena is important, very important. It was what David Ferrie used as his alibi. He claims that while the assassination was happening, he was, in New Orleans.
And this is what started off for you.
Yeah.
Pulling the thread on this and debunking his alibi.
So his story is he goes to this place, the Winterland Ice Arena, and he goes ice skating with the two kids. And after that, they just have this meandering trip back, and basically just, they were out for a weekend of drinking and whatever and all that stuff. Well, keep scrolling through this.
And the reason why this is super relevant, guys, for those of you that are just joining, is because Ferrie was one of the shooters, and he obviously had to come up with this elaborate alibi
Right.
to keep himself out of Dallas on that day.
Correct. All right, so these are just some random photos. You can skip through this kind of quickly. You can roll through it kind of quick. These are just various photos from the Winterland that I was actually able to obtain. No Kennedy researcher on planet Earth has ever seen these until I found them.
Okay.
And this is all exclusive stuff to my work.
Okay.
This is just general background. I loved it all because it had so many names and pictures, right? And all this stuff. This is, to me, I'm big on classic Americana. And to me, this is like, it doesn't get any better than this. Mm-hmm. You can skip through it kind of quicker. We got some other things coming up. I'll tell you when to stop. All right, stop right there. Go back. All right. So when David Ferrie gets to the Winterland, allegedly he meets a guy named Rowland Chuck Rolland. Okay, number one, that's not his real name. His real name is Rowland Chuck Rolland. It turns out he's a professional ice skater, and he is the manager of the Winterland. Okay, you can go to the next one. The place is actually formed and started by a woman named Mary Boots Roberts and her husband Ronnie Roberts, and they got it started basically by Lyndon Johnson. The Winterland Ice Arena, as it is known officially, was owned by the Johnson family enterprise. That is
Lyndon B. Johnson's family.
Yes.
Owned this.
Most people don't know this, but at the time Johnson became president, he was the richest president that had ever been. He was worth $300 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can we do an inflation calculator real quick for me on that? 300 million in 1963?
It's worth about $2.5 billion.
$2.5 billion,
Yeah.
roughly? Shit.
So,
Oil money? Or how do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost a 10x, or yeah, it's almost like a 10x.
Okay.
So, Mary Boots Roberts, famous ice skater, and she worked for Disney on Ice, Ice Capades, like all that kind of stuff. Just a side note, all those old traveling carnivals, Ice Capades, all that stuff, anything that moved around the country was utilized by the CIA for smuggling. And Ice Capades and Disney on Ice were no exceptions. And these people were in the midst of it. Keep going.
Now, why use ice companies? Why ice skating rink?
Just because they're traveling. They can put things on the bus.
Okay.
You'll find, you get into Kennedy, you'll find that there's a guy named Larry Crawford who's connected to the carnival circuit. And the carnival circuit, same thing.
I was going to say that next.
Yeah, same thing, traveling, and they stuff the drugs underneath the buses, whatever. Nobody suspects Disney on Ice is smuggling drugs. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Then they did. This is Ronnie Roberts. Ronnie Roberts, you can skip past this one, but he was the husband of Mary Boots Roberts. Okay, now Mary Boots Roberts, this woman right here, this is where it starts to get really important. So, Mary Boots Roberts White. I can't find where the white came from.
She looks like Pennywise. Remember the clown?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, if you read this here, it says that she was a professional skater and she went and worked for NASA, okay? Anybody who was connected to Kennedy who went to go work for NASA didn't go work for NASA. They're a spook, all right?
Okay.
So, Mary Boots Roberts, her birth name, and this is what kind of blew up the whole story for me, her birth name was Caltagirone. Mary Caltagirone was her name. You can keep scrolling. Turns out she has a cousin named Vincent T. Caltagirone Jr. Now, to people who are familiar with Kennedy and the story of the Three Tramps, Vincent should look kind of familiar. Vincent was the short tramp in Dealey Plaza that day. Okay, he's also the first cousin of Mary Boots Roberts, the woman who ran the Winterland, the place that David Ferrie used as his alibi. All right, so right then and there, we've got the short tramp connected to the owner of the or the
What is
manager.
the short tramp?
So in Dealey Plaza, they arrest 3 bums.
Okay.
There was controversy over whether those were bums or CIA agents.
Oh, the detective that we discussed earlier.
No. Google the Three Tramps.
Okay.
Bring up the Three Tramps. We'll track into this real
Yeah,
quick.
just so it makes sense. Okay, so
Yeah.
right after the shooting happened, pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
Not only are CIA guys caught, but then
Yes.
also bums are caught.
Bums are caught. They're arresting bums who were on a train. They pull off at 1:56 p.m., about an hour and a half after the assassination.
Okay.
So,
Because the area was locked down and they were trying to. Okay, I see what you mean.
Right. So they were trying to escape on a train. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good picture of them right there.
Okay.
So the Three Tramps I've identified as Vincent Caltagirone Jr., the short tramp.
Yep.
The tall tramp was the legendary Danny Green,
Okay.
and out of Cleveland. And the old tramp is a guy named Leo Masseri, who worked for a guy named James Licavoli, who worked for John Scalish, who ran the Cleveland mob. Okay, this is Cleveland mob. The two guys in the back.
So they're not homeless.
They're definitely not homeless. These guys had new shoes, patent leather, clean pants, everything. These guys are not bums. Now,
These guys are mafia guys.
2 are mafia. Well, yeah, all 3 are mafia. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And the guy in front, that's Vincent Caltagirone Jr. He is
What,
he's also working for CIA.
So
He's the real Raoul.
Okay.
He's the Raoul who set up James Earl Ray in the Martin Luther King assassination.
Okay. So they arrested these guys because they were mob guys? Like, what was their
No,
reasoning for grabbing them up?
Okay, so there were actually 2 sets of bums that were arrested. So I'll just run through this real quick. Right after the assassination, about 5 minutes after the assassination, they bust into a train, and there's 3 guys. They take them off a boxcar, and these guys are they're named Gedney, and there's 2 other ones. These guys are real bums. Okay, in the 90s, they tried to do a swap-a-roo with the data and tell us that these bums were the tramps, but it's a total cover story. 12:35, these guys are arrested. They're in the office. They're processed by like 1:30. Okay, the second call for bums doesn't go out till 1:56, and that's when we run into these guys. Lee
Gotcha.
Bowers, the train man, sees them jumping at the 9th boxcar. Okay, and so he calls the cops. Cops go out there. And they pull these three guys out of a grain car. Okay, so a grain car. The first set of tramps came out of a box car with a sliding door. These guys were in a grain car. They had to climb out over the top on a ladder because it just had it was empty, but it normally has grain in it. So these guys, and then for ever since then, everyone's been debating whether or not these guys are anybody or if they're just bums. Okay, all the official story people are they're just bums, but they're not bums. When you go into the details of the records, you find there were two sets of bums arrested and that these guys were never identified, unlike the other bums who were. Okay. One of these bums is Vincent Calderon Jr., who is the first cousin of Mary Boots Roberts, who ran the Winterland. So right then and there, you got a connection to Lyndon Johnson and you got a connection to somebody in Dealey Plaza that day at the place where David Ferrie's alibi took place. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling.
So one of the shooters, David Ferrie, used this ice skating rink as a cover story for how he was not in Dallas that day on the shooting, even though we know he was. The owner of the ice skating rink, which is owned by Lyndon B. Johnson, who would become the President of the United States. His family owns that ice rink. The person that was running the ice rink, her cousin was one of the people that were arrested.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm tracking. It was a lot, but okay. All right.
And so that is, to me, unbelievable. Because when you start to dig into the short tramp, this is what connects you to Martin Luther King. James Earl Ray, who got set up for the Martin Luther King assassination, he kept talking about Raul set me up, and he gave descriptions of Raul. He identified the short tramp as Raul. So we got, this is the best part. I haven't even gotten to the mind-blowing part yet. I totally almost forgot. For many years, in the 1940s and 50s, Vincent Calderon Jr., the short tramp, was married to a woman named Lorraine Valenti. Jack Valenti's sister.
Wow.
Yes. So you have this closed loop of interaction. Lyndon Johnson owns the Winterland. It's leased to Mary Boots Roberts. Mary Boots Roberts' first cousin, Vincent Calderon Jr. Vincent Calderon Jr. had been married to Jack Valenti's sister. And Jack Valenti was the right-hand man to Lyndon Johnson.
Wow.
You see this closed loop of four people?
Yes. Very intimate ties.
Right. No other Kennedy researcher on planet Earth has ever deduced any of that stuff.
And that is the place that David Ferrie used for his alibi.
Yes.
When we know he was one of the shooters. And we know that he was there because we have pictures of him there with the fucking top hat.
Yes.
And the trench coat.
Yes. So it's all a big orgy of corruption. Every single thing in this story. And it gets even worse when you get into the life of Lee Harvey Oswald. It's 10 times worse when you get into the contradictions there, which basically show that growing up there were two Oswalds.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Okay.
But to me, the Winterland was like ground zero for my starting to really piece this thing together and to really understand, because you have to reverse engineer a lot of stuff from the Winterland.
I do also want to say this, besides the Winterland, there's another reason too. I remember when we discussed this, how they knew that David Ferrie wasn't there. And wasn't there, didn't he spend the night at a college?
Yeah.
And there was a witness that put him at that location?
Yes. So the official story of David Ferrie is that he went to the Winterland on this trip and there was witnesses put him there, all this stuff. That whole story falls apart. What actually happened is after the assassination, David Ferrie will go from behind the book depository where he's seen by a woman named Velma.
And we have pictures too in your PowerPoint, don't we?
No, it's
I could have sworn we saw him with the trench with the top hat.
That's there. Yeah, that's in the PowerPoint.
Do you know what page it is on your thing?
Try around 300.
Bills, can you go look at that if you don't mind? Sorry, continue on.
So David Ferrie is not at the Winterland. That's the official story where he's supposed to be. Turns out Sergei Arcacha is the one who went to the Winterland posing as David Ferrie, gave the name David Ferrie. How do we know this? He talks to Rowland Chuck Rolland, who's not, his name isn't even Rowland Chuck Rolland, it's Rowland Chuck Rolland. And he basically says, he's like, this is a weird one, because he's kind of in on it and kind of not in on it, and he's like, doesn't have all the facts, and he's supposed to be providing an alibi for David Ferrie, but he doesn't really have all the facts. So Rowland Chuck Rolland testifies before the Warren Commission, and he describes David Ferrie. It's not a description of David Ferrie. He describes a guy who's 6 foot tall, well over 200 pounds, and has like a red toupee on. Okay, obviously he borrowed David Ferrie's toupee. David Ferrie was wearing black that weekend, but Arcacha is there, and David Ferrie isn't. David Ferrie goes from the behind the book depository to the Tippett shooting. After he's involved with the shooting of J.D. Tippett, he will then flee. Witnesses put him in Hammond, Louisiana at Southeastern University the night of the assassination. We have that from a document in, where are you at right there?
We're trying to find the David Ferrie stuff.
Way past that. Like, go to like 350. That's Tippett stuff. That's Tippett stuff. You're almost there. Almost there. Keep going. Oh, no. Sorry. You got to back up. So, David Ferrie hides out in Hammond, Louisiana. He goes to Southeastern College where he stays with a guy named Thomas Compton. Thomas Compton will provide a statement to the FBI and says, hey, I don't know how David Ferrie found me. He just happened to show up one night. But the FBI or Jim Garrison or one of the two or both will get a statement from Thomas Compton's roommate, who's a guy named Frank J. Chilona. This right here, what I'm going to talk about, is to me the single most important document in all of Kennedy research. It debunks everything. Okay, back up still. You got to back up about 20 slides maybe. So this letter, this statement given by Frank J. Chilona, he says on the afternoon of the 23rd, oh yeah, it's just before this. You keep going. You're about 20, 30 slides away. He says on the afternoon of the 22nd, or maybe the 21st, he says his roommate tells him that somebody's going to be coming to stay in their room. Okay. Thomas Compton lied, said he didn't know how David Ferrie found him. He just showed up. Thomas Compton's telling him, no, we knew somebody was coming. Okay. He puts David Ferrie sleeping in Thomas Compton's bed Saturday, the 23rd in the afternoon. Keep going, about 20 more, 30 more slides. Sorry. You're almost there. You're getting close. He puts David Ferrie sleeping in Thomas Compton's bed Saturday, the 23rd in the afternoon. Where's David Ferrie supposed to be on the 23rd in the afternoon?
Ice skating rink.
Ice skating rink. There you go. He gives a perfect description. He talks about how the man was funny looking and that he was bald and that he pasted hair where the hat met his head. So we know we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah.
He even calls him Dave.
Dave Ferrie had he didn't have eyebrows. He had to paint them on, right?
Oh, no, you passed it.
And he had bad hair or no hair. Let's see here.
No, maybe it was maybe it's the other direction. Now keep going the other way. Other way. Right. You're almost there, I promise.
All right.
Should you do a Control F for David Ferrie?
No, it didn't bring
nah,
you up.
No, it won't bring him up. Okay.
No, you're almost there. You're almost there. Keep going.
Sorry, guys. We're going through this big-ass PowerPoint right now on the side. That's what Bills is doing right now. But while we go through this, smash that goddamn like button because this is probably one of the most
all right, one more.
Information-intense
there you go.
things
right
you're going to see.
That's it.
Oh, there he is right there at the shooting. Yeah, so, guys, this photo right here proves, this photo right here, guys, proves that he was in fucking Dallas, Texas, because there he is right there, right after the shooting,
and go to the
with
next
the top
slide.
hat.
Go to the next slide real quick. I'll show you. We can hop back to this. Next, other way.
There he is. Yep.
Go the other way.
Down.
All right, that one right here. That's his boys in Dealey Plaza. That's Leighton Martins and Alvin Beaubouf. His two boys chilling in Dealey Plaza. They're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to be
At the ice skating rink.
Not yet. That's the next day, but they're supposed to be in New Orleans getting ready to head there.
Gotcha.
Right. So no, they're in Dealey Plaza.
Yeah. So they're in Dallas. And just so you guys know, for frame of reference, Dallas is what, maybe 4 or 5 hours from Houston?
Yeah, and it's about...
And then how far from New Orleans, Houston to New Orleans?
It's rough because they didn't have highways then, so it's kind of maybe...
We didn't have the same intricate interstate highway system.
Oh, hey,
but yeah, put it this way, guys. We can see here with those photos, that was absolutely David Ferrie because he has a unique look with the painted on eyebrows and the bad hair. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was a pilot back in the day, and he had a lot of health problems from being a pilot, right?
Okay, so David Ferrie didn't have any hair. Like, no eyebrows, no hair on the top of his head, and a lot of people have said that they believe he had alopecia. Alopecia is where you lose your hair.
Yep.
Total bullshit. We can trace David Ferrie's origins with the CIA back to 1947, his relationship with Clay Shaw to 1947, and what happened after that time period in the 1950s that could have possibly accounted for David Ferrie's hair loss. I believe he was a U-2 test pilot. We have 2 or 3 people who attested to this to Jim Garrison that he was a U-2 test pilot.
Yeah, I think it's even in his Wikipedia that says that. Can we pull up his Wiki?
And so ultimately, when you study the Chinese U-2 pilots, you'll find that in the early days, they used a suit that they called a pinch suit because it felt like you got pinched. Because of the pressurization in the airplane at 70,000 feet, in the early days when they were experimenting on for pilots to be able to handle that, they had special suits they made. But all of the original U-2 pilots, they all lost their hair just like that, just like David Ferrie. Didn't have any eyebrows, no nothing, because it basically, the pressure in the suit screwed your ability to grow hair, and all your hair fell out. And and it happened to David Ferrie pretty quickly over a period of a month or two.
Gotcha.
So I believe he was a U-2 pilot, and that's why he lost all his hair.
Okay.
So but most people don't even understand where that comes from. So.
Yeah, but that's important to know. That's why he had that's what was a distinct marker that they had for him, is that he had really bad hair loss and he would draw his eyebrows on. Obviously,
Right.
This is a younger photo of him in 1950, but
Also,
by 1963,
they found in it, when they searched his house, they found a little box that had what they believed were pubic hairs. It is believed that he would collect the pubic hairs of his teenage boy victims that he would molest.
yes, this guy was also homosexual.
It was also
him and Clay Shaw were both gay, right?
Well, yeah, but David Ferrie had been married in 49 and has a kid. So that most people don't even realize that, too. There's a David Ferrie Jr. who came up in Garrison's investigation, who was a lieutenant in the Marine Corps at the time. I can't find a damn thing on him except the references in Garrison's papers.
Okay.
So he's got a kid out there. He's got a lineage out there today.
Okay.
So that no one's ever even known about.
So going back to the Dave Ferrie, we were talking about Dave Ferrie being there. We have the pictures that show that he was there with the top hat. We have the witness that said that he slept in the bed
on Saturday when he's supposed to be at the Winterland.
Yes. So he was in Texas when he should have been. Okay.
Right. And then this is one of my favorite parts of the whole story. He gets back to New Orleans Monday, and he is in Jim Garrison's office being interrogated that afternoon. That's
So the
how
shooting-
close. That's how close Garrison came on day one to nailing this guy.
Question. So the 22nd, what day is that when Kenny was killed?
Friday.
That was a Friday. He's supposed to be at the ice rink Saturday. He's not. He's
Correct.
instead sleeping in some college in Texas.
Yes.
So he drove through the night after the shooting.
Yes.
To make it to, what was the name of the town that he was at?
Hammond, Louisiana.
Okay. So he did leave Texas. Sorry.
Yes, he left Texas, goes right to Hammond, gets to Hammond sometime in the middle of the night. The next day on Saturday, after he's seen sleeping in his roommate's bed, in Thomas Compton's bed, he will then leave from there and he will head down to Galveston, Texas, where he will check into the Driftwood Motel. And he will check in there using his name, but on the registration it says he's driving a Ford. He didn't have a Ford. Okay, this is a side story, but I'll tell it anyway. David Ferrie left to do all this stuff on this trip in allegedly 1960 or 61 light blue Mercury Comet. Okay, but at a couple addresses in Dallas and then at the motel, it's listed as a blue Ford. Okay, the thing you got to understand is that the Ford Falcon station wagon, light blue, and the light blue Mercury Comet station wagon are identical vehicles with different branding, both made by Ford. Okay, so he's checked into the Alamo Motel in a Mercury Comet. He's checked into the Driftwood in a Ford Falcon. They did vehicle swaps and license plate swaps because the correct license plate number is on the registration at the Driftwood. This is real nerd stuff, but this stuff is, I find, the most exciting.
Yeah.
There was obviously...
Well, I mean, it shows that there was obviously
planning.
a real move and planning
Yeah.
to really remove vehicles and connections and
Right.
and really trying to have this alibi if he was in Houston when he wasn't.
Absolutely. And so what you have to really go through the totality of all the documents covering everything from the Tippit shooting all the way through the Winterland stuff. And when you look at that grouping of data, it becomes brutally obvious. It's a cover story. David Ferrie was in Dallas, and everything that we've heard about with Winterland was a very elaborate alibi.
Yeah.
So you don't create elaborate alibis without a conspiracy.
Of
You know
course.
what I mean?
Okay. So we covered two of the shooters, what they did with the shooting, and then how they, escaped. So Jack Valenti claims that, well, we know that he planned all of JFK's itinerary, knew where he was going to be, is involved in the shooting, jumps on a car, he goes to the hospital with him, etc. Dave Ferrie is there on the scene. Rifle gets broken down. He leaves, makes the cover story that I was at this ice rink when we know for a fact we have photos of him at the shooting, minutes after the shooting, with the trench coat, etc. And then we also have another witness putting him at a college in Louisiana, a couple hours away. He drives into the night. I guess we could go into the other shooters. Lawrence Blackthorn or
Lawrence Howard.
Lawrence Howard and then
Lauren Hall.
and Lauren Hall. What did they do after the shooting? Because they left in the green vehicle.
Right. So The shots are fired.
Yep.
The power's now turned back on.
Yes.
They go down the elevator.
They're in the book depository.
Right. Sergio Arcacha comes down from the top of the roof, comes in the 6th floor. They all go down. 2 of them leave. William Seymour goes out. We've seen him in the video. They get in the green Nash Rambler station wagon. They loop around. A minute later, Lauren Hall.
The 3 of them. Hall, Seymour.
No, Seymour walks to Dealey Plaza.
Okay.
And you have Lawrence Howard, Sergio Arcacha in the vehicle. They loop around. Lauren Hall will come out a couple minutes later, seen by 4 different witnesses. He'll come out. He'll ditch his Johnson that we talked about earlier. He'll then walk around Commerce to Record Street. He'll get into that vehicle, the green Nash Rambler. Okay. For some reason, we don't know why, William Seymour re-enters the book depository. He'll then go to the 6th floor. I don't know what he does on the 6th floor. This is another majorly important part of the
But
story.
that's who the witness saw with the coke.
Aha. I'm glad you brought that up because that story didn't happen. There was no coke.
Okay, you did
None of that
mention
stuff
that
ever happened.
Okay.
Well, this is what
so it
really
wasn't that
happened.
she missaw the person. It
All
just
the
never
stories
happened.
that mention a coke are lies, outright fabrications. So what really happened is William Seymour will start to descend the stairs from the 6th floor. Okay. Outside, you have the 2 men involved in the coke story are Roy Truly and Marion Baker, who's a cop. Okay. Baker and Truly. This allegedly happened 90 seconds after the assassination. Absolutely.
And it's all
100
over the Warren Commission. It was one of the
Yes.
key things that they used to put. The reason why I'm mentioning this, guys, is because it was one of the key things they used to say Oswald was in the book depository.
Right. So it's absolutely 100% impossible for any of these actions to have happened 90 seconds after the assassination. You have a guy named Robert McNeil, who's a reporter for NBC. Shots happen. He goes in and he's running in the railroad yards. He's doing all this stuff. He then decides he needs to make a phone call. He runs into the book depository. He sees 3 men in the book depository. Billy Lovelady, William Shelley, and Buell Frazier. Okay, they're on the 1st floor. He comments that they're exceedingly calm for the pandemonium that's going on everywhere else. So he asks, where can I use a phone? And he makes a phone call to his Dallas news, to his New York news desk. When he leaves there, he walks out and no cops had entered the building yet. Okay. When he got the timestamp on when he made his phone call was made at 12:36 p.m. When he left, there were no cops in the building. That means the entire story about Truly and Baker entering the book depository 90 seconds after is completely bunk, because when you look at their story, they go up to the top floor, they then come back down, and when they come back down, the building's flooded with cops. Mm-hmm. So those 2 stories are incongruent. It's impossible for that place to have been filled with cops and Robert McNeil walking out and not seeing anybody in there. And this happens at 12:36. Probably leaves the building at 12:37. Yeah. That means that it's impossible for Baker and Truly to have entered that building prior to 12:37. Which is exactly what, this makes so much sense. It's perfect. Because basically they entered 12:37. The whole lunchroom story never happened. Never happened. When you read Baker's original statements, they basically tried the elevator, but the elevator was up on a high floor and they didn't want to wait for it to come down, so they just ran up the steps. They don't encounter anybody until they get to between the 3rd and 4th floor. Between the 3rd and 4th floor, and this in the paperwork, the man they encounter between the 3rd and 4th floor is identified by Roy Truly, not as Oswald, but as an employee. This man looks like Oswald. He has the receding hairline. He's got the light brown jacket that we saw William Seymour wearing, right? So it's definitely William Seymour that they're encountering in the building, because Oswald ain't there.
Because he had went back in for unbeknown reasons.
Yeah, exactly. He goes in for reasons they don't know. This is where it gets really fascinating for me, because Roy Truly, who was one of the bosses, top 3 guys in the book depository, he identifies the man as an employee. And we know it's not Oswald because of the brown jacket. Remember, Oswald has to leave to go get his jacket. That's why right?
Yeah.
This guy's got the brown jacket on the 3rd or 4th floor of the stairwell. And so once Roy Truly identifies William Seymour as having worked at the book depository, I'm like, duh, Oswald was never there. He never could have been there. And so when I tell people Oswald didn't work at the book depository, they look at me like I'm a fucking idiot. I'm like, no, dude. Yeah. For real. All the evidence in the world paints a picture that the incident on the 2nd floor 90 seconds after never fucking happened. It didn't happen until at least 12:37. And what happens from
it just didn't happen at the time they think it happened.
Correct. And it didn't happen in the location, and there was no coke involved. And that, when you go and watch the interview with Marion Baker where he talks about the coke, It's like, dude, you just fucking lied. You just made that story up and lied on fucking national television. It's truly unbelievable. This is the best part. This is happening. They stop him. They don't get a name, but they identify him as an employee. They then let him go, and they continue up to the top of the building. This is 12:38-ish, maybe 12:39. What happens at exactly 12:40? At exactly 12:40, you have a man who comes outside of the book depository out the side door. He then runs down the hill and gets into the green Nash Rambler and drives off, okay? Roger Craig, who was one of the Dallas sheriff, he identified the man who ran down the hill as Oswald. But it can't be Oswald, because the man who was just stopped obviously was the same man wearing the light brown jacket who runs down the stairs, leaves about 12:40, and as he's leaving the book side of the book depository to get in the green Nash Rambler, some people say he was wearing a light brown jacket. Other people say it was a light brown shirt. Either way, it was a light brown garment which matches the light brown jacket that he was stopped in between the 3rd and 4th floor, right? So to me, the whole series of events in the book depository is, it's not, I want to say it's straightforward, but it's not straightforward. But to me, it's very common sense. Oswald couldn't have been there if all this stuff is going on, and that man's William Seymour, who then flees in the green Nash Rambler, right? Impossible for Oswald ever to have stepped foot in that goddamn building, because if he wasn't there that day, he couldn't have ever been there, because they're not putting Oswald into work and then switching him out for a day. No.
Yeah,
so William Seymour was working in that building as Lee Harvey Oswald the whole time.
Gotcha.
There's no
and we have him at the scene.
logical.
We literally have him at the scene.
Yeah, we got him at the scene. There's no other
Literally have him at
logical
the
or
scene.
rational explanation, period.
Okay.
So
Let's read some. Are there chats, or we can go? Okay, we can read some
so
chats.
we have, go ahead and read some chats, but I do have, that story's not finished yet.
Oh, no, finish it.
Okay.
Finish it, then we'll.
Okay, so
Because then next we're going to go into Oswald after this.
So from there, the Green Nash Rambler will make its way into Oak Cliff. Within a couple minutes of when it should have been in that area, you have the Pendletons, a couple. They're at the Tidy Lady Laundry. They're sitting there doing their laundry, and a guy comes and pulls up in a light-colored station wagon. Doesn't say if it's green or not. I guarantee you it's green. He gets out, and he starts to walk down the street. He turns around, walks into the Tidy Lady Laundry. He then makes a phone call in Mexican. They said it was Spanish, obviously.
Okay.
So what's he doing? He's calling Lawrence Howard.
Yeah.
He's calling Lawrence Howard from the fucking Tidy Lady Laundry.
Because Lawrence Howard was the only Hispanic there.
Right.
Yeah.
He then...
Yeah, it's 1960s. We don't know. They're just talking Mexican. We don't know what's going on.
He's identified as wearing a light brown jacket in the fucking Tidy Lady Laundry.
Yeah.
Duh, where have we seen a light brown jacket? Fucking book depository. It's the series of events when you truly come to get a grasp on the chronology. It's pretty plain and simple. He will then just walk off on North Clinton Street, or North Davis Street, I think it was.
Can we turn AC down a bit? It's cold as hell in here, guys.
And then, so from there, we have about, 20, 30 minutes, and we get many, many years later, we get a story by a guy named Robert Vinson. Robert Vinson is a Air Force guy, and he's like in Texas somewhere, and he wants to hop on a plane to get back to Colorado Springs. So they say, okay, just go hop on that. We don't have a plane, but there's a plane out there. You can go hop on that one. They'll take you where you're going, to another Air Force base. The plane takes off. It's in the air. 12:30, they announce Kennedy shot over the loudspeaker. It's only him and the pilot and a co-pilot on this plane. At that point in time, the plane turns around midair, okay, goes back to Dallas, lands in an open field next to an aqueduct. They pop the door open. Two guys come in. One of them is a tall, husky Latin guy. The other one looks like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yep.
They're wearing brown jumper overalls. Okay?
Yep.
Both of them get into the CIA plane. It's a CIA plane, he determined later on through the markings on it.
Wow.
They both get onto this plane and strap in, and no one ever says a word to anybody. Nobody says nothing. The co-pilot popped the door open. These guys came in, sat down. Nobody says a word. Vincent felt it was obvious everyone was ordered to stay shut the fuck up, And so who were those guys escaping? Those guys were obviously William Seymour, Lawrence Howard, and where did they go? They went to fucking New Mexico. And why is that important? Because goddamn William Seymour was living in Phoenix, right next to fucking New Mexico. You know what I mean? So they probably got off there, and the green station wagon that was left in the parking lot of the Tidy Lady Laundry, it had to get back to Los Angeles. Lauren Hall didn't get on that plane. Lauren Hall probably went and picked up that green Nash Rambler and drove that shit back to
L.A.
Yeah.
So two of the shooters flew to New Mexico. One shooter
Well, a shooter and a spotter.
A shooter and a spotter flew back to New Mexico, and then the other shooter drove back to L.A.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's the end of that story. But
yeah.
It's a fascinating, I mean.
No, that's incredible, man. I mean, it makes sense. And I mean, and the crazy part is we have them on video there. We literally see them there. All right.
And the only argument that the fucking the people who would like counter this are just like, oh, that's not them. That's the only argument they have. Oh, that's not them. You know, if you show them the pictures, like, oh, that's not them. Oh, fuck you. Of course it's them.
Yeah, it is them. Okay, let's Machaka Boss. Shout out to OSS 300. Thank you so much, Machaka, with the big 100. Appreciate you, my friend. In the house, too. What else do we got? We got Let's Go W Stream from the #1 Mormon supporter. Shout out to all you guys, man. OSS 300 bros in the house.
I want to give a special thanks to Jim. RN Jim's just in the chat. He runs my back end of everything. I love the guy, and I couldn't work without him.
Man. What was the correlation between Marilyn Monroe, JFK, and both of their deaths? Okay, we'll answer that one here in a second. I'll read the rest of these.
They were both killed by Israel.
All right. In what way are those guys connected to JMWAVE? We answered that earlier. Mm-hmm. They all were based out of New Orleans, but loosely affiliated with JMWAVE, which oversaw that operation in New Orleans. Think about accused murders of Kennedy. Okay, and they got a how the hell did you make that? You got a picture of Fresh?
I was trying to hold that laughing. So Cory, tell us, is this legit?
That's legit.
What the fuck? What the fuck, bro? I don't even know how they did that. Bros put a picture of Fresh as the shooter. He's not even here either. All right, bro said a $5 shout out to you, Burrow. Nice Star says, what about the allegations of that Lucien Sarti fired the fatal shot from the grassy knoll?
Yeah, no. Okay, so Lucien Sarti is kind of one of these Frenchmen, and there's a lot of speculation about the Corsican assassins who were brought in, and that really opens up a whole other can of fucking worms with Jean-Pierre Lafitte and the Corsican Mafia and Permindex, and we should get to Permindex. Permindex is fucking the bee's
That's
knees.
Clay Shaw's thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that too.
But the Sarti stuff and all the Michael Roux and all that
BS.
BS. I mean, those guys were in Dallas for sure, 100%. But when you really come to understand what they did, they flew all kinds of people to Dallas.
Oh, you know what we also have to do? We have to cover Vietnam with Kennedy, or Executive Order 111, whatever, getting off going back to Gold Standard.
Because these are other every time I think about that shit.
That's because these are other reasons why he was killed. So I want to debunk some of those with you as well. Okay, what else here? Was Woody Harrelson's dad one of the tramps?
No,
okay.
The man that the tall tramp is who people said Woody Harrelson's dad was, but it's not. The tall tramp is Danny Green, the one and only.
Okay, what else? Good questions, guys. They're tapped in. Ask him if he knows about Sam Bloom. We discussed Sam Bloom earlier.
We discussed Sam Bloom earlier.
They slipped. They slipped an ad for Coca-Cola into the propaganda. That's some next level psychological shit. Great show. Could do this once a month. W Stream. We got you guys, man. I told you we're bringing in the best researcher in the world on this. Anything else? That's it. I gotta ask this. Why did the Jews want Marilyn Monroe dead? We know JFK,
so
but why her?
This is talked about in a couple books, actually. I think one's called Mr. Celebrity. It's about the L.A. mob and Mickey Cohen. I think they talk about it pretty in depth in there. So Menachem Begin, Menachem
Prime
Begin.
Minister of Israel, former terrorist, Ergun, I think, or Haganah.
Probably one of the worst pieces of shit that's ever lived on planet Earth. He
mastermind of the King David
bombing the King David Hotel.
Yeah.
So that's a very important event because right after the bombing of the King David Hotel, he had to get the fuck out of Dodge. So what does he do? He goes to America, where starting in 46. Oh, this is where we'll start to talk about the Jews. So, 46, and Menachem Begin, he's in America. Okay,
okay.
So let me kind of start here and kind of fill in this.
Let's pull him up real
gap.
quick so they can put a picture to the name. This guy's called the father of terrorism, Menachem Begin.
Menachem.
Bless you.
Yeah, you type in, yeah. I don't know if they'll pull it up because the J propaganda. Yeah, just type in if you type in PM Israel Begin, Menachem Begin, it'll come up. PM Israel. I've shown him a million times, but people might not. BEGIN.
DBG? What?
No, BEG. Menachem Begin. Oh, there he is, right there. Top picture, I think. Is that? Oh, okay. And then type in Begin, Begin. Prime Minister Israel, and then Begin.
Yeah, there we go.
There he is.
Yeah.
That's him. Yeah. Pull him up on the wiki real quick for them, just so they know. So sorry. So he's in the United States in the 40s.
Right. So 1946. This is where it really connects to the Israelis and the Jews. So 1946, World War II was over. They still didn't get their fucking country, right? They had the Balfour Declaration in 1917. Didn't get it after World War I. World War II happens. They still didn't get their fucking country. They're pissed. They go to America and they're like, well, at least give us some weapons to fight the Palestinians, to oust them so we can start to do this on our own. David Ben Gurion will send an emissary of the Haganah, a guy named Reuven Daphne, to L.A. to meet with Bugsy Siegel. He meets with Bugsy Siegel in 46.
Pull up Bugsy Siegel real
This
quick.
starts the relationship between the pre-Israeli Zionists and the... You can't say the Jewish mob because the Jewish mob is the mob. The
Yeah.
Jews ran the fucking mob,
Yeah.
okay? So, 46, Reuven Daphne meets with Bugsy Siegel. They hit it off.
Who's
like
incredibly wealthy from running casinos.
Yeah.
And this guy was, if I'm not mistaken, instrumental in the creation of Las Vegas,
Yeah.
etc.
All that stuff. So by the end of the conversation, the relationship between the pre-Israeli Zionists and the LA mob, who's run by Jews, is pretty much, it's beginning. Fast forward to 1949. They are one organization. They're no longer separate. Mickey Cohen.
Because the guns that they used to fight the Palestinians off were almost exclusively from the United States and
Right.
from Europe.
So what happens
Post
is,
World War II excess
and that'll
weapons.
connect to David Ferrie, because David Ferrie and his guys in 61, after the Bay of Pigs, break into the Homa, Louisiana bunker and steal all the arms. And everyone thought those went to the anti-Castro Cubans, but they didn't. It went to a company called Inter-Armco out of Virginia for the Israelis. And it was coordinated by the CIA.
And if I'm not mistaken, the big reason why the Bay of Pigs failed is because they did not receive the weapons they needed because those guns were diverted to Israel instead?
That's a whole other conversation, and I have my own opinions on the Bay of Pigs, but I think the Bay of Pigs was designed to fail intentionally to make Kennedy look like shit so they could oust him. That's my opinion.
Okay.
No one else in the world agrees with me on that, but I live in a world of dumb people, so I don't know
Okay.
what I can tell you.
Fair. Okay.
So this relationship in 46 to by 49, Menachem Begin is Mickey Cohen's personal rabbi.
Okay.
Yes. So this is
Let's
where
pull up Mickey Cohen as well. Another
this is
big
where
mobster.
the Marilyn Monroe
Please.
stuff. This is this group of mobsters and Jews where the Marilyn Monroe stuff comes into play later on. Okay. So let me see. We have Reuven Daphne, 46. Okay. So then we have David Ben Gurion himself, partners with Meyer Lansky, the mob boss of all time, who's a Polish Jew, not
can pull him
an
up, too.
Italian.
Mayor Lansky.
They form a relationship, and they proceed to pilfer our arms. And it's called the Sonborn Institute. All the stealing of our arms is Sonborn Institute. And that continued for basically 20 years. All the David Ferrie stuff, if you ask me, was a continuation of Sonborn.
Sonborn is basically like a conglomerate of American mobster Jews, businessmen, and Zionist Jews that want to create the state of Israel, working together.
Yes.
Yes. One common mission.
Right.
Using legitimate money, illegitimate money, and I guess you could say even government money.
Right.
At that
Yes.
pre-Israel to
Yes.
facilitate the creation of Israel.
So this being all the case, fast forward to 48, you have Israel's created now. Okay.
Because these mobsters are rich guys, by the way. They made all their money from prohibition at this point. They made a bunch of money from from gambling, opening up casinos. These guys were like billionaires in today's day and age.
And starting in the 50s, they have the heroin trade, which Meyer Lansky and Menachem Begin set up. They set up the trafficking lines between Venezuela and Saigon. And so they had all that heroin money. And where'd the heroin money go? It went to a bank called the Banque de Crédit International. It's different from BCCI, which is the Bank of Credit and Commerce International. The Banque de Crédit International was founded by Tibor Rosenbaum and the Bronfmans. And this is the bank that Israel used for all its international dealings in the early days. It is also the bank that Meyer Lansky laundered all of his drug money through, and is the bank that was utilized by the company Permindex. Permindex.
Can we pull up Permindex real quick, Bills, please?
Permindex,
Permindex, yeah.
I consider to be the oversight board of the assassination. So imagine this. David Ben Gurion, top of the pyramid, okay?
On the Israeli side.
On the Israeli side. Top of the pyramid there. His orders go to the Mossad.
Yep.
From the Mossad, they go to Permindex. And who's on the board of Permindex? Alan Dulles, James Angleton, Tibor Rosenbaum, Roy Cohn, who was Trump's lawyer, a whole bunch of these guys. Clay Shaw. Boom, Clay Shaw. This is the in to New Orleans. Okay, Permindex had a sub-company called Centre Mondial Commercial, CMC. It was run out of Montreal by a guy named Louis Bloomfield. I got multiple documents. They're using aliases, but I got David Ferrie, Arcacha, Kerry Thornley, and Clay Shaw. Multiple flights to Montreal. What happened in Montreal? There's no documents on it, but that's where Louis Bloomfield and all the CMC stuff was. And there's a, I don't know enough about
CMC, what's that?
Centre Mondial Commercial.
Oh, gotcha.
It was the Permindex sub-company.
Gotcha.
None of these companies did any business.
Was Permindex a CIA front?
No. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. It was a Mossad, but you can't separate these people. This is the same thing. It's all in one organization.
Yeah.
The by 1963, when this is going on, the Mafia, CIA, and Mossad are one organization.
Yeah.
You could even include some fringe groups, like the leftover remnants of the Nazis were all involved in Permindex. Like, it's truly a who's who of shitbags, and it's the proof the CIA, Mafia, and Mossad, and all these groups actually do work together.
Yeah.
So the relationships with the Israelis go back to 46. And then you have, once you get past that era, 47, 48, you get into the realm of Ryan's work on NUMEC. When you watch NUMEC and you see that map that he created in there, that plugs the gap here between like 48 and the assassination. And I didn't spend a lot of time on that because he already did it, and I don't duplicate Ryan's work ever. So that era right there, I mean, the tightness of the relationships between these fucking Jews and the Mafia and the CIA, and just, I mean, it's just an orgy of corruption.
Yeah.
And this group here is the group that's ultimately responsible for the assassination of President Kennedy. And Permindex is the
and everybody had a vested interest in him being gone, whether it was the Italian mob, the Jewish mob, the CIA, they all wanted him gone.
Absolutely. All for different reasons.
Yes.
But for me, the biggest reasons of them all was that John F. Kennedy was going to end the nation of Israel. When you truly come to understand his...
You think that was the final nail in the coffin?
Yeah. He talks about cutting fund. He talks about when he's exchanging letters. You have this series of letters between Ben Gurion and Kennedy, and it's basically come to be known as the Battle of Letters. And so for a couple months, really March through about May, they're writing back and forth. And Kennedy's like, "Look, you're going to let us into Dimona, or we're going to cut your funding." And Ben Gurion's like, "Fuck off." He's like, "No." And so.
And then they lied one time and made a fake panel.
Yes.
And had the inspectors go.
Yes. I mean, you got Jews and you got the truth, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah.
And so Kennedy knew everything that they were doing. He knew, because the Dimona nuclear reactor had been exposed in 1960.
Shout out to Rattlesnake TV for the raid on YouTube. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. We're doing a banger episode here, by the way. This is so much information. I hope everyone's tracking. Sorry.
So, where were we?
They lie. They lie, and they lie more. But yeah, we're talking about
the Permindex and all these guys.
Permindex and these guys.
But make no mistake about it, Permindex is like the central hub of the planning and the oversight. I've been trying to find this talk that there was like a
JFK ending all support. You're saying the number one reason why he got killed was his. If we had to put it on a list, we could just do an order. Yeah. The top 3 or 5 reasons why that got him killed. So
number 1, Dimona. They wouldn't let the inspectors in. They wouldn't let him in. They were lying about it.
Tried to destroy their nuclear program.
Right. And then when they got caught in 60, they said that it was it was a peaceful program, but it wasn't. I mean, and then that connects to Ryan's work on NUMEC, where they stole all of our plutonium, right? So it's this group of the NUMEC stuff that he covered that really is like all those people, maybe not involved in direct planning of Kennedy assassination, but they were all lingering in the background. You know what I mean?
So the number one reason trying to destroy Israel's nuclear program, which that would obviously get them destroyed because they were a new nation, their enemies want them gone, etc. Right. What would you say is number 2 that got him killed? I've always thought saying the CIA, I'm going to smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces. And I know that him and Alan Dulles hated each other, the first director of the CIA.
Yeah, but this is where like this talk on Vietnam comes in. And
yes.
He gets killed over Vietnam, which to me is so stupid. Like,
can you debunk? Because that is one of the normies. Whenever I ask normies on why'd they kill JFK,
Yeah.
Even RFK to this day says it's because he wanted to end the war in Vietnam. If you
So,
could debunk that quickly.
There's a skill people need to learn. It's called reading between the lines, okay? Because not everything is explicitly spelled out for you. So Kennedy, when it came to Israel, he wanted to shut them down because well, let's be real. He was an anti-Semite, if you want to call it that. And he just hated Israel. But when it came to the other guys, the CIA guys, I can't really put my finger on whether it was over Vietnam or they just hated him or he was standing in their way or whatever it was. Because the rumor that he was going to end the Vietnam War is, to me, stupid. Because within the past year, 10 months or so, they spent about $6.5 billion on military equipment and helicopters.
Like
and
$6 billion
airplanes.
in 63?
Yes.
Can we put that real quick? Inflation? No, because I want the audience to understand like how much money that he had. Because people always say he was going to end the Vietnam War,
Right.
but you're saying he had spent
Billions
a significant
upon
amount
billions
to
on-
continue the war.
Correct. Then you have the executive order, the staying the troop withdrawals and when you go through the ZR rifle files, which were the assassination
$6
stuff,
billion in 1963. What is it today?
it should be around 50 billion or 60 billion or something like that.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, oh, I'm sorry, I just totally lost.
You
my
were
train
talking
of
about
thought.
executive order. We talked
Oh, the
about
executive order,
Vietnam and why you said it. Why is not?
You're not
wasn't
going to
gonna-
spend that kind of money in 1963 and then pull out of a war. The executive order when they
72B. 72B, guys, equivalent he spent in 1963.
when the CIA said that. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought again.
70 billion.
Yeah.
He wasn't really trying to end the war. The war was going to continue on when you spend that amount of money
Yes.
in a conflict.
Okay. So in the executive order and his troop reallocation that he talked about in the ZR rifle files, they clearly indicate that executive order was specifically meant to put pressure on Diem because Diem, who was the prime minister or president of South Vietnam at the time, he didn't want the CIA getting involved in their war. And Kennedy believed that by putting pressure on him and the CIA putting pressure on him, they'd be more willing to allow the CIA into their war. Okay. But he stuck to his guns and said no. And so in early November 1963, they murdered him. That's what happened there. Then after Kennedy gets murdered, there's no more obstacles to the CIA getting involved in their war.
So it wasn't that he wanted to end the war. It's that he wanted to keep the CIA out of the war.
No, he wanted to. So they were trying to get rid of us entirely. He didn't want that at all. He wanted us to stay in the war. And so, therefore, by putting out that executive order saying that we're going to pull all our troops, I believe, and the CIA believed, that was meant to put pressure on Diem, like he was losing his backup. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
But he didn't really intend on doing it.
no, not at all. Their initial allocation was very small that they were pulling, and then it's kind of vague until the end, and it said a full withdrawal will happen by this date. But obviously he gets killed. That never happens. The executive order gets squashed. And so, yes, I believe he had every intention on continuing the war. You don't spend that kind of money and then pull out.
Yeah.
You just don't. I'm sorry. It'd be like spending all that money today. I mean, it's
70 billion in
ridiculous.
today's day and age.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So it's crazy. But yeah, the idea that he was anything but a war hawk, I think is just silly. And so beyond that, what do you have? You got the basic, they killed him over Vietnam. Why did the mercenaries, the Hall Howard Seymour types, why did they pull gunmen? Why did they pull the triggers? Well, they hated him because they thought he was a communist. That's where that comes into it.
Because of his relationship with Khrushchev?
Well, it starts with the Bay of Pigs. Felt like they were abandoned to Bay of Pigs, but I don't believe that at all. I think the Bay of Pigs was a double, triple whammy. I think that was meant to fail to get Kennedy out. I think they were setting him up from the jump on that thing. So, yeah, the totality of circumstances.
But why? And real quick, just to spin it back, because Marilyn Monroe, why did the Jews want her gone?
Oh, I believe that she was just
Too much? Knew too much?
And when she died, actually, her autopsy, she had a bruised colon. So they stuck something up her ass when she got killed. I don't know if she got raped with a broom or what, but she had bruised colon.
Wow.
So most
Okay.
people don't know about that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the shooters. We talked about Jack Valenti, David Ferrie, what they did prior and after the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence, and Hall. Now I guess we could go into the man himself, Oswald. And this is very, I guess, we'll try to explain this in a way where it makes sense. We alluded to it earlier, where there were multiple people that played the role of Oswald over multiple years to create this backstory that he was a communist, that didn't like Kennedy, wanted him gone, etc. But the reality is the person that pulled the trigger and shot him, allegedly, is not the same. I'll let you just take it.
Okay, so
Sorry.
let's talk about Oswald and communism.
Yeah.
There's some contradictory information on when communism crossed paths with Lee Harvey Oswald. We have an anomalous event in North Dakota in 1953 where Oswald leaves New York. He'll go to North Dakota, and he meets a guy there named Henry Timmer. And Timmer will tell the FBI that when he met Oswald, Oswald had claimed to have been in gangs in New York, been in gang fights in New York, and that he was a communist, and that he kept talking about Das Kapital, which is what is that Marx's book?
Yeah.
And so,
and I do think it's important for the audience to know, back then in the 1960s, guys, communism is what terrorism is today.
if you talk about communism in the 60s, they would like call the cops on you.
Yeah, like it's like, I know people are like, oh, well, if I see your communism back in the 60s was a big fucking deal. It literally is what terrorism is today. So that's the functional equivalent of like how they would react to it and why the FBI would be so concerned with someone that's a communist.
Yes.
Versus now, they don't go fuck, but unless you actually like work for Russia or
So
whatever.
we have this one-off event in 1953 in North Dakota.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people will argue with you that say Oswald was never in North Dakota, but he was. Oswald admitted to Eileen Mosby, a reporter in Moscow, that he spent time in North Dakota, and that's where he discovered Das Kapital. All right, so this is an isolated event. We don't have any other references to Oswald and communism or Russia or speaking Russian or anything like that until March of 1959. So we have this one-off incident in 1953 which he confirms when he talks to Eileen Mosby. But then we don't have any references to communism or any of that stuff until March of 59. And I'll get into March of 59 in a minute. But
What was he doing in those 6 years? Was he in Russia or?
no. So from that North Dakota incident, which most people deny that he was there, but it's in a newspaper article that he was there. So he was there for sure. And I can place it in the timeline pretty perfectly. From there, he will end up going back to New Orleans. And this is where we get into a lot of the conflict in Oswald's early life with the dual Oswald stuff between 1954, actually before that, but starting for the sake of this conversation, 1954, all the way through the time he goes into the Marines in 1956. So once he joins the Marines in 1956, that's a whole nother chapter. But if we're talking about Oswald, the one thing that we have to talk about is that the story of the life of Lee Harvey Oswald, all the way up until 1959, is a completely different story than the assassination story. The story of the Kennedy assassination and the story of the life of Lee Harvey Oswald are two separate stories that happen to intersect at a point, and that is it. When you really get into Oswald's early life, you will find that what we're told about where he lived, when he lived there, what schools he went to, who his friends were, everything about his life. You will find the story when you create a chronology of Oswald's life. You don't end up with one chronology. You end up with two that utterly contradict, that overlap to the point where it's utterly impossible for Oswald to have been in multiple places at once. And this
That's what I was going to say. That's what gives it away is that one story says he's here, but then you also have him here.
Right. And that pattern will persist between 1941 and basically September 10th, 1959. That whole time.
So almost for 20 years.
Almost, yeah.
There are there's a cover story being built up for an individual.
Right. If you flip over to the other presentation.
The second one?
Yeah, the second one. And scroll down. Yeah, scroll down. Stop right there. Go up one. That one right there. You can go ahead and show that. The photograph on the left is the man that we're told is Lee Harvey Oswald in Minsk in 1962. But the man photographed on the right, that's the real Lee Harvey Oswald, whose photograph was taken at the passport office in Los Angeles on September 10th, 1959. These are not the same person. Not at all. As you go through, this presentation's huge. It's like 450 pages. This presentation here basically shows beyond all doubt that there were two children named Lee Harvey Oswald. One of them went by Lee and the other went by Harvey. Now, this sounds crazy. It sounds stupid. And even though I wrote the book on it, as I say these things, I still feel like a freaking lunatic. But no, this is an identity transfer operation. The man on the right, even Jim Garrison picked up on this. The man on the right has gray eyes. The man on the left has blue eyes. Look at the hairline. The hairlines are different. Nothing about this. This is two different people. I mean, and there's tons and tons of photographs showing that Oswald basically was a compilation. His life that we know, the story we've been told, is a compilation of these two men's lives that were merged together, with the real switcheroo happening in July of 1956. In July of 56, see, every address for Lee Harvey Oswald up until July 56 is the real Lee Harvey Oswald and the real Marguerite Oswald. That changes in 56. In 56, the addresses switch, and the person living at those addresses is the false Marguerite Oswald and the false Oswald. And that starts in July of 56.
We got pictures in your book, don't we?
Yeah, sure do. You want to flip to something?
No. I was going to see if you could show them the difference between the mom and the...
Yes, it's in that presentation. I just don't know where. Yeah, same one. I just don't know. I'm not sure exactly how far down it is. Like 400.
No, you didn't. You did not put that sound in there, bro. No, you didn't.
We're gonna show that.
Here, you can zoom in on me.
All right, moving on. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Oh my God! Oh, there you go. Hold on, let me focus. Focusing. God damn, focus. Shit. There you go. Hold on. There you go. All right, let's see what it says.
All right, so the woman on the left is
This one?
no.
Oh,
the
this
other
one? Okay, sorry.
That woman is 100% verifiably the real Marguerite Oswald as photographed at Paul's shoe store in 1957. Every single photograph of Marguerite Oswald up until this time period is of the same woman, and it's the woman on the left. Now,
This woman?
another one.
No, I'm saying, but what about this one then?
That woman is the woman who is known to the world as Marguerite Oswald.
Okay.
Here's the problem. The woman on the right is 5'1", and she's fat. The woman on the left is 5'7", and she's skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's number one. Number
And
two,
these were supposed to be allegedly his mom.
allegedly Lee Harvey Oswald's mom. Yes, the woman on the left has never been a nurse ever. Never had training as a nurse. None of that stuff. She's always worked in retail or for an insurance company. Mm-hmm. However, the woman on the right never worked in retail. She was always a nurse.
Keep the mouse on the one on just so the audience knows. So one more time, which?
That one right there where the mouse is.
Okay.
They can't even see the mouse.
No, they can't see the mouse.
Oh, they can't see it. Okay, so this one right here. Sorry, this one. Where my fingers?
That one
Jack,
right
this
there,
one.
yes. And
This
I
one.
believe after many years of research, I have identified who that woman actually really is.
Okay.
But there are clearly...
But they try to pose this woman off as Oswald's mom when
Right.
it's not.
There was a
His real mom is this woman.
Correct. There was a swap-a-roo done in 1956 with the addresses, but not only that, the real Oswald, Marguerite Oswald, was supposed to disappear in 56. And the reason that she didn't disappear in 56 is because Lee Harvey Oswald in 1957, when he gets to Hawaii on the way to Japan, he will send a postcard to 3038 West 6th Street.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually 3830, but he got it wrong. That address was written, the address on the postcard was written by the real Lee Harvey Oswald and sent to his real mother at 3038 or 3830 West 6th in Dallas, when the other woman was not living at that address. The official story has the real address as something different than the address on the postcard written by Lee Harvey Oswald to his mother. If it wasn't
Okay, that's how you were able to know?
Yes. If it wasn't for that postcard, we wouldn't know that there's a conflict in this 56 to 57 time period. But we also have another problem. God, this gets so complicated. It's hard for me to explain because if I explain this, I got to explain that, and then I got a domino effect of things I got to explain. But ultimately, 1956 is a crucial year because that's when the swaparoo happens. The real Lee Harvey Oswald's mother is supposed to disappear, but she doesn't. She doesn't end up disappearing until after that postcard is sent. That address, they end up verifying during the HSCA, which was like 20, 30 years after. What was that, in the 70s? That was like 15 years later, after the Warren Commission. So the address problem, when you study the addresses of where Oswald's supposed to live, you find they tried to hide addresses and cover up addresses and gave even wrong addresses intentionally. And then why did they do this? They did this because when you really get into the details, you'll find that Oswald's entire family is naval intelligence. Oswald was clearly part of an identity transfer operation going back to the time he was a child, because this is what the intelligence communities do. This operation was obviously picked up by the CIA sometime, God, I don't even know when. It had to have been after 47. But this operation had been going on since 41. How do I know it was going on since 41? Because when Oswald filled out his Marine application, and he put his brief biography, he lived in Fort Worth from 41 to 56. Blatantly false. He didn't move to Dallas, Fort Worth area until April of 1944 when they move into an address on Victor Street in Dallas. So you got a 3-year problem there, right? Because and this is where, and in 41, this time period is so fascinating because this is when Marguerite Oswald's life story completely falls apart. So 1941, Marguerite Oswald seemingly disappears off the face of the earth. We have an official story on where she is and where she's working and all this stuff, but it's all lies. We can't say with certainty where Marguerite Oswald was from about fall of 41 through April of 44. She's off the map, gone. Like, we have no idea. When you look at the addresses that she provided as where she was living, she provided a couple addresses, 2136 Broadway and 227 Atlantic Avenue. You ever heard of those streets before?
Well, it sounds
Broadway,
like New York City to me. Yeah.
Sounds like New York City, huh?
Yeah.
I grew up in Brooklyn. When I heard those addresses, I'm like, this is New York.
Yeah.
She told everyone that they were in New Orleans. So when you dig into those addresses, the FBI went and visited those addresses in New Orleans, and they interviewed the people there. They're like, yeah, no Marguerite Oswald ever lived here. There is no other place in the country where Broadway and Atlantic Avenue are in such close proximity, except New Orleans to Algiers, Louisiana, and then you have New York City, and that's it. And when you dig into what was going on in New York City in 1941, 42, you have the creation of what's called the Navy Waves program. The Navy Waves program was the Women in the Navy program. So all the men, they started to create this in late 41, and it was implemented in July of 42. This is the time that Marguerite's missing and giving these bad addresses. The training facility for the Waves program was at Hunter College in the Bronx, 9 miles from 2136 Broadway. Okay, so it's right there. It's obvious. She was in New York training for the Navy Waves program. In this book I have here, there's a page from her book, from a book written by Marguerite Oswald, that during this time period, she's supposed to be working in retail. Okay, but the reality is that she's not. She admits that she was working at a naval base. She was working at.
And we have more pictures. Do you want us to show any of these, or?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. She was working at a Navy base in Algiers, Louisiana, as a telephone operator. And so what did I do? Of course, I had to go and dig into what the telephone operators were doing in 1942 in the Waves program. And it turns out all the telephone operators had the highest security clearance, because when you're a telephone operator for the Navy, you're connecting high positions, and that's the way the system worked. You could overhear every conversation. They had to have the best of the best and put into those positions to manage the top security clearances.
Of course.
Marguerite Oswald was one of these women. Okay. The only reason we know this
was the woman that we saw, the real mom on the left, in the picture.
I don't know.
We don't know which one of the two it is. Okay.
This 41 to 44 period. I'm still a little like, there's no documents. I gotta kind of just try to figure it out, and it's really tough. But while this is happening, okay, so let me just say this. The woman who I believe is the Marguerite Oswald that we know as Marguerite Oswald, I believe is a woman named Amanthe Voitier, who is the first cousin of Marguerite, the real Marguerite Oswald. Okay? So these two Marguerites are cousins. And we already know there's a Navy connection here. And then we have this identity transfer going on. So we have naval intelligence. So to me, it's pretty obvious that this whole family was involved. And when you get into like Lillian Moret, who's Oswald's aunt, and his cousin, who was Marilyn Monroe, it's clear they're intelligence. They're going to countries they shouldn't be going to in 1955 as single women, period.
You know, people might think like, yo, this is crazy. This is so weird. Like, what do you mean there was an identity swap, whatever? But when you actually think about it, if you're going to kill a sitting president of the United States, then you're going to pin it on somebody, you're going to want their background as complex and as confusing and as strange as possible so that people don't figure out what's really going on here.
That's an aspect of it for sure. But it seems...
Because there's a reason why they pin everything on him. They already had the backstory written up like, look, he's a crazy communist. See, we have him on all this stuff, all these witnesses
and
that
I
knew
think
him.
they shot themselves in the foot by pinning this on Oswald or even using him at all. Why would you set up a guy who's got a half-fake background that any researcher could figure out? Well, here's the thing. They were so short-sighted.
Yeah.
In the 60s.
They didn't anticipate that you would come along and
the internet,
track down all these documents and the internet. And
the internet itself is such a goddamn marvel.
Yeah.
That
they could not have foreseen that.
I can go on a computer right now and look up the entire detailed background of any one of these CIA agents.
Yep.
You think in 63 they thought they would be forgotten to history. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So careful what people are doing today because we never know what.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah. I mean,
years.
if they were doing complex shit like that 60 years ago. But it makes sense because like people might say, "Man, this is so confusing." That's precisely the point.
That's precisely the
You're
point.
trying to. They killed a sitting U.S. president.
But also, they were very sloppy in the dual Oswald stuff. They were real sloppy because I mean, I think it was partially experimentation. I don't think it was they had a set program on how this worked, and they seemed to offload a lot of the responsibility to the Marguerites to figure stuff out and make sure he's registered for school and. But you get into some really, really crazy stuff, like some timeline overlaps that just are impossible. Like in 101 San Saba is one address that they allegedly lived at for 3 months in 1948. Mm-hmm. John Armstrong is the man who kind of pioneered the two Oswald theory. Mm-hmm. He got a lot wrong, but my book corrects a lot of the stuff he got wrong.
And he's the only other researcher, because I don't know any other researcher that's given this theory that like there's multiple Oswalds.
There's a couple others. There was another book that came out actually in the 70s called Doppelganger, which was about this. It got it wrong too, though. It said that its conclusion was that the Oswald who came back from Russia was sent as a Russian spy, right? So there's been a bunch of stuff like that. That's all wrong. The only person who really got deep into it was John Armstrong, and recently, past like 5-6 years, a guy named Robert Duran wrote a book on it. I can't find Duran's book on it, but he's the one who came to the conclusion that it was Amanthe Voitier who was the imposter. But his reasons that he gave were pretty bunk.
Okay.
He just made shit up. But when I actually dug into it...
They're onto something with Doppelganger, but just they didn't go about it the right way.
They didn't go about it the right way. They didn't go about it the right way at all because there's so much contradiction and overlap. Like the San Saba address, I can prove that there was 2 different families named Oswald living there in 47 and then in 48. A Marguerite with a Lee, both living there at 2 different times. One was a nurse, one worked in retail. The other one had a car, the other one didn't. I mean, you see this pattern repeat over and over and over again all through the life of Oswald. So,
Shit. Okay.
But yeah, that's a part of the assassination story that really has nothing to do with the assassination. And I feel like the vast majority of people out there, especially the normies, are never going to comprehend.
I mean, it's difficult to understand, but it makes sense why they would go through to all this trouble to create that cover story. What else do we got? Chats? Do we have chats? You'll read them real quick, and then what did you want to cover next? We covered the shooters, Oswald's double thing. We could go over the arrest, how he was apprehended.
Yeah, sure. That's a good story too.
Yeah, because I think with the J.D. Tippett stuff. Okay, so King Darula says, please talk about JFK Jr. plane collapse shortly after platforming the mother of the Yitzhak Rabin patsy. Same forensic inconsistencies in the official narrative, which as a melted cockpit. Also interesting, was it true that Yitzhak Rabin was in Dallas on the day that JFK was killed?
Yeah, 100%.
He was in Dallas.
It's written in his wife's memoir. I have a copy of it. She couldn't believe it.
She also blames Netanyahu for killing him, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Netanyahu-
Yeah, some crazy Likud party guy shot him. Let's pull up Yitzhak Rabin real quick. For those of you that don't know, Yitzhak Rabin was a former prime minister of Israel in the 1990s. He was responsible for signing the Oslo Accords alongside Yasser Arafat.
So we already talked about L.A. and Menachem Begin and the Jewish connection out there.
Mm-hmm.
What most people don't realize is that Menachem
Yitzhak
Begin,
with a Y. Oh, that's him. You got him, Bills. Nice.
Yitzhak Shamir, and Menachem Begin were living in Los Angeles, confirmed 3 weeks before the assassination. Okay,
Menachem Begin and Yitzhak Rabin were in LA.
Shamir.
Shamir. I'm sorry. Okay.
And I don't believe they were in Dallas
Let's
because
pull up
there's,
Shamir. Yitzhak Shamir.
there's
Next.
some phone calls made to L.A.
Same
by
first
Jack
name,
Ruby.
but last name Shamir. Sorry, I'm killing y'all with the names. I know. Yeah, but Mo Bill's like, what the fuck is
thought you
this?
sneezed.
Yeah. Menachem Begin. And then
Alhamdulillah.
Shamir. What? Yeah, Yitzhak Shamir. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all right. I forgot what I was talking about.
You were talking about Yitzhak Shamir and Yitzhak Rabin living in
So,
LA.
so those guys were in L.A. 3 weeks before the assassination, and this is fascinating because you have a guy named Al Gruber. Al Gruber was the right-hand man of Mickey Cohen, L.A. guy, okay? Remember, these Jews and the L.A. mob are basically one organization.
Absolutely.
Mickey Cohen got in trouble because he was paying more attention to the Israeli stuff than he was the mob stuff, right? So, you got these guys out there. God damn it, I forgot what I was saying. My brain is starting to turn off.
No, well, that's fine. We'll wrap up here soon. Yeah, we were talking about Yitzhak Rabin, Yitzhak Shamir being in LA.
Oh yeah, Al Gruber.
and then how
Gruber.
yeah.
So Al Gruber is important because Al Gruber had known Jack Ruby all growing up. Him and Lenny Patrick and Dave Yaris, two mob hitmen who were in Dealey Plaza, they were all buddies growing up. Gruber ends up going from Chicago to L.A., working with Mickey Cohen. He's involved in all this Jew stuff over there, okay? He visits Jack Ruby like about 3 weeks before the assassination, a time that we can confirm. Begin and Shamir are living in Los Angeles. Gruber's living in Los Angeles. So we know for a fact 3 weeks before the assassination, Gruber comes and meets with Jack Ruby in Dallas. Allegedly, he tells the FBI, oh, I was just passing through town, right, whatever. So as soon as Oswald gets arrested in the Texas theater, Jack Ruby makes a phone call to Al Gruber in Los Angeles. That basically loops right back to the Jews in Israel, Menachem Begin and Shamir being in Los Angeles. When you come to understand the relationship between Cohen and all these guys out there, what you come to understand is that Menachem Begin inserted himself into the LA Mafia and was kind of running the show a little bit. And this pissed a lot of people off.
Okay, because they're looking at him like, hey, this guy's from the middle. He's not one of us.
He's
like,
not one of us.
He's not an American, mobster guy. He's
Right.
he's one of these Zionist paramilitary guys. Get him out of here.
So you have the phone call from Jack Ruby to Al Gruber right after Oswald gets arrested.
Oh,
I am convinced this is the moment Al Gruber gave the order to Jack Ruby to kill Oswald.
can we pull up Al Gruber real quick? On you said Al Gruber,
Alexander Gruber, yeah.
Gruber.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you're gonna find much.
Alex Gruber was the one that told Ruby to shoot and get rid of Oswald.
I'm convinced of that.
Well, he
Based
did.
mostly on the timing, the calls, the relationships, the understanding of what happened. Because I'm convinced Oswald was supposed to die in that theater. That brings us back to the story of the gun, which is the whole Texas theater story is
No picture on him. He looks like here. Is he any of these?
No,
Well, that's the famous scene from the.
no,
From
you're
the
not gonna
movie.
find a picture of him. You're not gonna find a picture of Gruber.
Okay.
So
Well, he did say, Jack Ruby, famously, that I did it for the Jewish people.
right.
When asked why he shot,
Right.
our guy here.
It was all about them. It was all about this. Like I said, the salvation of the Jewish people, just like the Book of Esther. That's why the Purim guys were in Dealey Plaza. The whole thing was symbolic to them. They have to do this. There's a religiosity to it. And by maintaining the religiosity, it doesn't piss off God. You know how they got that stupid shit with opening the doorknobs with the wooden contraption because they can't touch doorknobs on Sunday or whatever the fuck?
They fooled God, bro.
They're trying to fool God.
Yeah, it's
Again,
always fooling God.
and Purim, honestly,
Let me slam this chicken on the fucking thing and push up. You guys didn't hear about that? Like that's one of their things. Like they send all of their sins to the chicken and then they slam the chicken on the thing and kill it. Yeah, Orthodox Jews do it.
So
in
let me.
Brooklyn, bro.
I need to
In
clarify
Brooklyn,
something.
you see a whole bunch of chicken cages and they literally grab the chicken and they slam that shit on things.
Bro,
saying
that's a new spin on choking a chicken, bro.
yeah, bro. Yeah.
I
Fool
need
God
to,
by choking the chicken.
That's what.
I really need to clarify something.
Yeah.
These fucking Jews have no connection to Israel or Palestine.
Yeah,
okay?
none.
These Jews are the descendants of European converts. Okay, we can easily trace the origins to the 8th century.
Begin was Ukrainian.
Yep, their influx into Germany and Poland and Europe and Western Europe in the 12th century, and this all connects all back to the Khazar Empire, which is absolutely 100% true story. It's well documented in a book called The Kuzari, which is a book written by a rabbi in the 12th century. He wrote a book on how awesome Judaism is, and he's like, look at this flex. We got the Khazar king convert his whole kingdom. That's how awesome Jews are, right? That's the point of the book Kuzari. But a modern day Jew will look you in the eye and be like, no, my ancestors are from the Middle East.
Yeah,
You fucking idiots.
Yeah. Stay on you. No, it's fine. So what was I going to say? I was going to say something. So we covered Oswald. I guess we can go over how he got arrested, because people say this is where things get very fishy, because witnesses, right, especially the black woman, I forget her name, but she said,
Clemens.
It was her name?
Akila Clemens.
Akila Clemens. She claims that the person that shot Tippit were two individuals, not one, like the official narrative says, right?
Yes. So I'll tell the story. So basically, we're talking about the shooting of J.D. Tippit, which is basically there was a cop in
We
Oak
pull up,
Cliff.
type in J.D. Tippit, JFK, it'll come right up, yeah.
He gets murdered, and Oswald is blamed for it. So the story of Tippit. Tippit's in Dealey Plaza. Okay, he's standing on Houston Street. He's captured in the Robert Hughes film, just like when we saw earlier. Tippit's on Main Street, on Houston Street in Dealey Plaza. He's then seen by a woman named Velma, who's one of the most important witnesses in the whole case. Seen behind, and I'm summarizing here. I'm not giving you detail. Basically, he's seen behind the book depository, speaking with David Ferrie, who's sitting in the Great Plymouth. J.D. Tippit was.
Oh, wow.
So J.D. Tippett's in Dealey Plaza. He's photographed on Houston Street. And then afterward, he's witnessed by Velma talking to David Ferrie in the Great Plymouth. Okay. From there, J.D. Tippit will leave from behind the book depository. He will then drive to Oak Cliff. He will park next to the Gloco Oil Company gas station. And for many years, people kind of were like, didn't know why he was there. But we have multiple witnesses who see him sitting there for like 10 minutes leading up to about 1 o'clock. Okay. So he's there for at least 10 minutes. He probably leaves Dealey Plaza, goes right there. Well, it turns out that there's a bus stop right across from where he was. That was the exact same bus that Oswald had allegedly gotten on and gotten off of. Okay. But Oswald never got on that bus. I'm just telling you right now.
So just so we're clear, the person that actually shot and killed J.D. Tippit was not Oswald.
No.
It was William Seymour.
No, it was Kerry Thornley.
Okay. Can we pull him up on the...
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be able to... Will they even be able to pull
Yeah.
him up on here on
Yeah.
Google?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
Kerry, Kerry.
Yeah.
Thornley. This was another one of the body doubles. So there's two main body doubles, William Seymour and Kerry Thornley. We haven't
Right.
talked about Thornley that much.
So ultimately, Oswald is supposed to have been living at 1026 North Beckley, which is a boarding house, right? Oswald allegedly goes there at around 1 o'clock. He allegedly grabs a jacket and his gun and then walks out. And then...
That's not him, is that? No.
Yeah, that's him as an old man.
Oh, shit. Okay. I thought it was like a rabbi or something.
No, that's him as an old man.
Okay.
So he's a CI spook. I mean, I can trace his whole history through the Marines and everything. I discovered stuff about him being in the Marines that even everybody, CIA lied about, everyone lied about. I can put him in all kinds of places where he's not supposed to be.
Okay.
But ultimately, what you have is Oswald's supposed to be living at 1026 North Beckley. Let me give you a hint. He ain't
Quick
living
images
there.
for Kerry Thornley, because I want them to see his young photos that he did look like Oswald. I'm sorry. Bro.
That's fine. So he's not living at 1026 North Beckley. Kerry Thornley's living there. Kerry Thornley is the other half of the equation of the setup of Oswald, okay? So all of the appearances of Oswald with a pregnant woman and a child where he's going around looking for jobs or apartments or whatever, 100% Kerry Thornley and Marina. Marina Oswald, we never talk about her, fully engaged in this setup, completely from head to toe. So ultimately, Kerry Thornley's living at the boarding house, not Oswald. The official story is Oswald gets off the bus in the cab and gets to the boarding house. He's seen by Earlene Roberts, who's the manager of the boarding house. She says that he's there just long enough to grab a jacket and walk out the door.
A brown jacket.
It's the jacket that's found. It's like a light tan. It's like a light tan jacket.
Similar to what William Seymour was wearing.
You know, it's not actually. When you look at the details of the jacket, it's a different kind of jacket.
You're fine. You can keep Kerry Thornley.
Yeah, you can keep that up there. Actually, you don't even need to put anything up there. So then you have a cop car pulls up in front of the boarding house, honks the horn twice. and then drives off. And then Kerry Thornley, or it's supposed to be Oswald, to not confuse anybody. Oswald's supposed to walk out the boarding house at roughly 1:02.
How did Tippett get on his trail? Did he get like a phone call or like a tip?
No, this whole thing is a setup. The whole thing's a setup. So I'll get there.
Okay.
So Oswald's supposed to be living at this boarding house. It's not him. It's Kerry Thornley. This person, seen by Erling Roberts, walks out the door no later than 1:02. Okay. This is a problem because the official story says Oswald shot at 1:16, but he's not. He's actually shot at 1:06. All the evidence in the world says that there were people on scene trying to help him by 1:08. He shot at 1:06.
JD Tippett is.
Yes. So that means there's only 4-minute gap between the time the man leaves the boarding house and gets to the Tippett shooting. Okay? 4-minute gap. You can't walk that in 4 minutes. It's 0.8 miles. You can't do it in 4 minutes. Had to be driven. Now, common sense. A car pulls up in front of the house, honks the horn twice. That's the car that drove him there. Obviously, he walks out the boarding house and you have a cop car drive him the 0.8 miles to the Tippett shooting. And we also know this because we have a witness, Doris Holland, who says there was a cop car sitting in the alley when Tippett was getting shot. So you got 2 cops, Westbrook and Croy, totally corrupt, totally in on this. They go and pick Kerry Thornley up at the boarding house, leave by 1:02. They drive him to the Tippett shooting. He gets out of the car. Oh, and David Ferrie is there also. He's waiting. The gray Plymouth is parked behind Tippett, seen by multiple witnesses. So Kerry Thornley gets out of the back seat of the cop car, walks down the alley to the little triangular window of the gray Plymouth, of the cop car. Sorry. He starts talking to Tippett through the little triangular open window. Tippett then gets out of the car, starts to walk around, but he pulls his gun because something's up. I got 50 pages of speculation on why this happened. I think I understand it pretty well.
You don't know why, but he Tippett goes for his gun.
I think I know why. And I think it has to do with the fact that Tippett and allegedly Oswald were both seen at the same time inside the top 10 record store earlier that day. Okay? Oswald's not him, so it was obviously Kerry Thornley. So I believe that he sees Kerry Thornley and he's like, why did I saw that guy earlier. I don't think he knows Kerry Thornley because Tippett's getting set up to be shot. He sees a guy here who's supposed to be Oswald in a place where he's supposed to be meeting, where Oswald's supposed to be, but he sees a guy who he saw in the record store earlier in the day. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's like, what the hell's going on here? So he pulls his gun, starts to walk around. At this time, Kerry Thornley will pull out a revolver, fire 3 shots into Tippett's chest. Tippett will fall face down like this right next to his car. 3 witnesses see a second man wearing the same outfit as described by Ed Hoffman behind the Knoll, Velma behind the book depository. So you have David Ferrie you saw David Ferrie wearing the hat and the suit. Okay, great. That's the description given at the Tippett shooting. Okay. This man pulls out a gun, shoots Tippett in the head. So you got Tippett has 3 shots to the chest, 1 shot to the head by David Ferrie. So David Ferrie shot Tippett and shot Kennedy.
Shit.
Kerry Thornley will later make statements to a guy named Raymond Broshears that he proved to his handlers. He basically says that he proved to his CIA handlers that he could kill somebody.
So it wasn't Lawrence. I thought it was Lawrence that was with him that shot Tippett.
No, it was
Ferrie?
David Ferrie. Yes.
Okay.
From here, you have the cops go to a house up on Belmont where a guy named Kenneth Glenn Wilson gets arrested.
And what did this witness say when this black woman, the witness, she said that 2 people shot J.D. Tippett, right?
Right. So she sees a guy who looks like Oswald, but she describes him as wearing the jacket and all that stuff. And the other man, she describes him as he was kind of heavy, but he wasn't a very big man. You know, David Ferrie is about 5'10", 200 pounds.
Last time we thought it was like Lawrence or whatever, but it wasn't. It's
No.
Ferrie.
Yes, Ferrie.
It is Ferrie.
Lawrence is seen at the plane later, but not at the Tippett shooting. So you have David Ferrie is seen by ultimately Akilah Clemens, Frank Wright, and Doris Holland.
What was Kerry Thornley doing all this time while William Seymour and all these other guys were at the book depository doing shooting?
Great question. I believe he was chilling in a safe house. Bored as fuck. That's why in the morning he's seen 2 or 3 places.
He's also CIA, right?
Oh, 100%.
Out of JMWAVE.
Well, I don't know about out of JMWAVE because he actually, I believe, got recruited into the CIA in high school from what was called the Voice of Democracy contest. He entered. Okay, so Kerry Thornley starts out as this guy who's like a total nerd. He enters science fair. He wins science fairs. He wins book contests. He's a total ass kisser in school. Then he does the Voice of Democracy contest in his junior year. And I believe that's where they got him. Okay, in the 60s, anything with the word democracy in it was run by the fucking CIA. Okay, so the Voice of Democracy, why do you have a Voice of Democracy contest? Right. You want to see who you're going to fucking recruit out of high school, right? Yeah. So they recruit him out of high school. By the next summer, he is in the Marines when he's not supposed to be. He ain't supposed to be in the Marines, God, until September 58.
And apparently people said that him and Oswald didn't know each other, but they actually did.
Oh, yeah.
And you have pictures of them together. I think you have in your thing. I remember you showing pictures of them together.
Well, I have witnesses who put them together multiple times down in New Orleans at times when, number one, Kerry Thornley's not supposed to be in New Orleans. Number two, they're not supposed to know each other. The whole series of events with Kerry Thornley and...
I think you even had an old picture of them in the same... taking a photo together as Marines.
I don't have... No, that doesn't exist. The only time they were together was for about 6 weeks in Santa Ana, California, from around March 22nd through late April. And then Kerry Thornley will be sent to Atsugi, Japan, to be in the unit that Oswald had been in before. So Kerry Thornley gets out to Atsugi, Japan in the Marines in 1959-ish, 58, 59. And... he gets out there and he starts using an alias. He uses an alias of Rick Thornley. And he talks to a guy who's a Marine named Ronald Schwinghammer. And Schwinghammer tells the FBI this guy, Rick Thornley, was asking all kinds of questions about Oswald, asking about Oswald's unit. He was taking photographs of Oswald's unit and just basically felt like he was compiling a dossier on Oswald. And this is right at the time when Oswald defects. Well, no, this would have been before Oswald defected to the Soviet Union because Kerry Thornley went over there a couple months before that. So he starts gathering information on Oswald before he even defected. Shit. Something's up there, right? So this is all a big scheme.
Okay.
It's all a big scheme. And then then everything starts to make sense once you realize that the early Oswald sightings in New Orleans were actually Kerry Thornley going back to the 61 at the Bolton Ford. Once you realize it was Kerry Thornley the whole time, he was compiling a dossier, figuring out who Oswald was, and then he gets to New Orleans to impersonate Oswald. So it was almost like homework. He goes to Atsugi to figure out who Oswald really is, to learn to impersonate him. Then he gets to New Orleans, and boom, the impersonations begin.
Why did he kill J.D. Tippit?
There's a lot of speculation over that. I have a couple things that I speculate on of an occult nature. But I believe more than anything that the cops really didn't give a shit that Kennedy got killed. They didn't. I mean, it was their job to figure it out, but most of them hated Kennedy in the first place. So like, if one of their own dies, they're going to now be invested in the case. And I think they killed him to pin it on Oswald to lead to that Texas Theater incident where all the cops rush in there, to stoke up the police anger. To ensure that they went after him.
Was Kerry Thornley at the movie theater too?
So this is where things get fascinating. So the official story says that Oswald gets to the Texas Theater
to hide, allegedly.
To hide. And they say he doesn't get there till 1:36 p.m. That's the official story. 1:36 p.m. Butch Burroughs, who was the guy behind the candy case, one of the managers there, he straight up says in a video, you can even find it on YouTube. He says Oswald entered between 1 and 1:07. This is 30 minutes prior to the official story saying Oswald entered at 1:36. Okay? So this is what really happened. I'm just going to tell you what happens instead of jumping around. Oswald gets to the theater probably about 1:06.
Kerry Thornley?
No, Oswald.
It's actually, okay.
The person that we know as Oswald.
Okay.
Gets to the theater, never was at the book depository.
Never was there.
He was in Fort Worth all morning at the Payne's residence, which means Ruth Payne's a fucking liar. She's dead now, but she lied about the whole thing.
That was his wife or girlfriend at the
That
time?
was the woman who gave a home to Marina and Lee. CIA spook, 100%.
Is that the one we talked to on the space?
No.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Basically.
So he goes from Fort Worth, now he's in Dallas at the movie theater. The Oswald that we know. Not Kerry Thornley.
Right. He takes a cab, probably driven by a guy named Travie Delano Bo Click. A guy who went by Bo Click. Died in a mysterious plane crash in 1966. Connected to a woman named Bernice Click, who was an associate of Jack Ruby. So you have this big, long chain of fucking people. You have a big, long... It's all one big orgy.
What the hell's going on, man?
So Oswald gets to the theater at about 1:06. He goes in there. He buys a ticket, unlike the official story. He goes in and he sits down, and there's a guy in the theater named Jack Davis. 18-year-old kid sitting on the front on the right-hand side. about 3 or 4 rows back. Oswald goes, sits directly next to this guy. 900-seat theater, 22 people in the theater, and he sits directly next to this guy.
That's awkward.
Awkward as shit, right?
Yeah.
The guy's like, what the fuck's this guy's problem?
Yeah.
He gets up and he does it again, sits down next to another person, and just sits right next to him. They don't say anything. A couple minutes later, gets up and moves again. He eventually settles down next to a pregnant woman. He and the pregnant woman speak for a little while. They then both go to the lobby. At this point, the pregnant woman leaves. Oswald will then purchase popcorn at exactly 1:15. According to the official story, Tippit ain't shut for another minute. So Oswald's in there at 1:15. He buys popcorn. He goes back to his seat and he
So it would have
sits
been
there.
impossible for him to be the shooter.
Yeah. He gets back to his seat and he sits there literally 35 minutes watching a movie, eating popcorn before the cops rush in. He didn't have a goddamn clue he was getting set up. He probably didn't know it till they rushed in the theater. And then once they rushed into the theater, the story they tell us is bogus. They tried to plant a gun on him. He didn't have a gun. He never ordered the gun. When you dig into the rifle was ordered with a fake money order. The revolver was never his. There's no evidence linking him to the ordering of it. It was sent to a place called Railroad Express, which was picked up by somebody and signed for by somebody named Paxton. I don't know the implication there. But Oswald never had a gun.
So let me ask you this then. So the Oswald that we know was never at the book depository, never shot J.D. Tippit. He went directly from Fort Worth to the movie theater.
Yes.
Who told him to do that? And was he instructed to meet somebody there?
Obviously, he had to be meeting with a handler, and the handler had to have been the pregnant woman. Now,
Okay.
I've been on the pregnant woman for a while. We have some suspects. There's 3 pregnant women in the story. Only one of them lines up with the timing, and it was a connection to Carrie Thornley in New Orleans. Oh, what the fuck was her name?
So he was given instruction.
A woman named Grace Zabrinsky, I believe her name was, or something along those lines, who was an associate of Carrie Thornley, was pregnant at the same time that this pregnant woman meets with Oswald in the theater. But I can't say for sure. I mean, we just don't know. It's one of those things that'll be lost to him.
So the important thing to know is that he got instructions to go to the movie theater
Yes.
to meet a handler with the CIA.
Yes.
And he shows up there. He sits. That's why he awkwardly sits next to people trying to figure out that's
Right.
the handler, because he doesn't
that's
know who
even-
the handler is.
And that's even what Jack Davis told the FBI. They're like, he was obviously there to meet somebody he didn't know.
Yeah.
That's what Jack Davis told the FBI.
And
So-
when he sits down and they talk to him, he kind of figures it out, gets up and leaves, and goes from there.
And so he's in the theater until they come in at about 1:45, and they rush in. They obviously plant the gun on him. David Ferrie fired the revolver at Tippit's head, but what did David Ferrie do? He dumps a bunch of shells at the shooting. Why the hell do you dump in shells from a revolver? The whole point of a revolver is it doesn't dump shells.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he's dumping
That makes
shells.
no sense.
Right.
So they found revolver shells on the crime scene.
Yes.
That's fucking weird.
Yes.
That is weird.
Well, yeah, 4 shells.
Yeah.
3 of them have a circle. When you look at the imprint on the bullet casing, 3 of them are circular with a slight rectangular notch fired from a semi-automatic. One of them is completely round, fired from a fucking revolver. 2 totally different sets of casings. So you have
So Thornley shot him with a semi-automatic.
Thornley shot with a semi-automatic,
Uh-huh.
and then David Ferrie shot with a revolver.
One shot, dumped
One
it out.
shot in the head. That's it.
And then dumped it out.
And then he dumped out multiple shells from his revolver, even though he only fired 1 shot. So he had to fire multiple shots elsewhere to have the extra shells to dump at the scene. You see what I'm saying?
What the fuck?
Right. This is like, it's wild shit, man. I don't see how anybody can think the Oswald story has ever been true when you get into the fucking micro detail like
Yeah.
this. You know?
It doesn't make sense. Okay, shit, man. Well, I'm trying to. I think we covered a lot right there. I think we covered it all.
What time is it, by the way?
It's 11:30. It's 11:30. Shit. Is there anything else? I guess. Do we have any other chats?
Yeah, we can do a bunch of chats.
Yeah, I'll read chats, guys. Get your questions in now because we're gonna wrap up here in a second. Corey's had a long day, so. Yeah, very informative. You guys enjoyed it? Yeah. Okay, salute Corey. Question: how did Ahmed Delimi come to work for Mossad?
That's a great question. I ultimately don't know his origin story, but he's a Moroccan Jew, and so the Mossad, they recruit people.
Oh yeah, all the time,
Yeah.
all the time. And and people think that, guys, just so you know, there are Mizrahi Jews who are Arab Jews from the Middle East, all over the place.
Look into his role in the assassination of Ben Barka. That's a great story. And then ultimately, Delimi will end up being killed too. He's the guy in Dealey Plaza. He was the Not the umbrella man, the other guy, the dark complected Cuban guy who was next to the.
Oh, okay.
That's Ahmed Delimi.
Did we ever find out who the umbrella guy was?
Yeah, it's Michael Harari. Odds are, so this was identified actually years ago by Michael Collins Piper. Michael Collins Piper pretty much identified him as Michael Harari, who was a long-standing Mossad guy who was stationed in Mexico City, confirmed to have trained with some of these anti-Castro Cuban guys.
Do me a favor, Bills. Type in Umbrella Man JFK because I want the audience to see this. It made no sense. This guy's in like a full-on black suit with a fucking umbrella. That day was beautiful. There was nothing.
Somebody came forward and said it was them, and so history books have it as like the guy's name was like Louis DeWitt or something like that, but it's totally false. Okay.
No.
So Ahmed Delimi would be the guy who was sitting on the curb on the left on that picture. Yeah, the guy
that's
sitting
him.
on the curb on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy on the right. Yeah, that's Ahmed Delimi.
Okay, now type in Umbrella Man JFK, and we'll pull him up real quick because this is a guy that What? Okay, let's see. Let me see if there's another picture.
Scroll up to that official story. Put that official story back for a second. Go up to the top. What it says is like, what's his name again? Louis Stephen Witt. Yeah, no, bullshit. That's totally fucking false. The guy came forward, and when they started questioning him about different things, he couldn't give them answers, and people feel like he was prompted to go do this.
Okay, interesting. Click images maybe, because I want to show the guys the images, because this is like the mysterious guy. Yeah, there you go. There he is, right there. Yeah, you can see him. That one or the one below. See that? Yeah, you can see him right there. And it was a bright day. That's why everyone's like, why the fuck is this guy having an umbrella, bro? Yeah, there he is. Umbrella guy. And there he is again. Yep. As they're rolling up. Okay. What's the next chat? Yeah, man. Makes it easier. And I always set them up in order. So, okay. We are comedians. W. Myron. This is a comedy skit. Okay. You guys probably made fun of. Oh. Is that Mustache Man? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Question for your guest. What similarities do you notice between the Kennedy assassination and the Kirk assassination?
Yeah, it's all the same. They never changed the fucking playbook. Lone patsy, contradictory information in the background, always Israel. I mean,
it's fair.
If something horrible happens, the fucking Israelis did it. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah, get your guys' questions in now. Literally, #1 JFK research in the world. How plausible was it that Mac Wallace pulled the trigger on JFK?
Nonsense.
How well connected was he to the CIA through the DRE in New Orleans?
Yeah, totally pure fiction, totally irrelevant. Mac Wallace has nothing to do with nothing.
Okay, fair enough. I've never even heard that name. Who's up next? HSCA ruled the Kennedy assassination a conspiracy. Warren Commission believes magic bullet. Why doesn't the JFK files reconcile these two different narratives? Are they scrubbed or did the file not existed? I think it means to say not exist.
So I think ultimately the reason there is a discrepancy, and the reason they haven't fixed it is just more plausible deniability. If you ask a question but you don't give an answer, then you can maintain the fact that you don't know what the hell.
Did James Jesus Angleton have anything to do with the assassination or no?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, I know he was critical to Israel's nuclear program.
He was the head of Western Hemisphere, I think, at the time, and so that means he would have been or counterintelligence. Either way, he would have been. So you got a couple guys.
Wasn't his file? Wasn't Oswald's file on his desk?
I don't know.
Angleton?
Stuff like that. I don't know.
Right,
I don't know. Just like I don't get into like that kind of. Honestly, I ignore a lot of the
the random noise.
The random noise. Yeah.
Fair. Stay focused. Because I mean, the thing in itself is already a monster. King Derulo, why was the complexity of the RFK assassination not as complex? How do you connect Israel to that assassination despite only establishing a motive?
Well, you got to realize that the CIA and the Mossad are one organization. They're not separate. You can't separate them.
And also,
honestly, I think RFK and Martin Luther King, they felt emboldened. After they pulled off the complexity of this assassination here and got away with it, they're like, this is our world. We can do whatever we want. So they didn't even put the fucking effort in.
The RFK one was lazy, bro.
They phoned it in.
That one was lazy. Oh, yeah, Sirhan shot him. Bro, Sirhan was in front of him. And the bullets that killed him came from behind. Like, it's just lazy as fuck, bro. Like, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, the RFK assassination is, that was just laziness, pure laziness. What else? Okay, King Derulo, without the Permindex theory and the second and third other order connections to the mob and Myerlansky, how else do you establish Mossad killed JFK?
It's all about relationships. Relationships are everything. Yeah. You're not going to go rob a bank with some guy you're not tight with. So if you got two people robbing a bank, you can assume things about their relationship. Same thing. It's the relationship. When you understand the relationship started in 46, and by 63, after they did all the Numex stuff, you're talking about these guys are like this.
And then you said Jack Valenti set up the entire. Like he organized this trip, and then the Texas the City Council or the Texas Citizens Council,
Dallas Citizens Council, yeah,
which was all Jews, by the way. They were the ones that were sponsoring it. If I'm not
they
mistaken.
were supposed to be in charge of where the motorcade went. And so
That's crazy. Hey, you got to take this route here, bro. Yeah, like just driving for this fucking library with an open top limo, by the way. Oh my God. Okay. He was a sitting duck, man. Is it true that Marilyn Monroe and the Kennys had a thing for each other?
yeah, she got around. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even doubt she was some kind of honeypot on some level. I mean, she fucked everybody, dude.
Fair
Like
enough.
the homeless guy down the street and everything. I mean, like fucking everybody.
Emac James. No, we got that one from Emac. Hey yo, and then this is okay. Making fun of Bills and Mo. All right.
That's what I look like to niggas, bro.
Oh man, fair.
I love it.
King Derula, please talk about JFK Jr. plane collapse shortly after the platform of the mother of the Yitzhak Rabbi. Oh yeah, this came up earlier.
Yeah, I don't. If it happened after 68, don't ask me.
Okay, fair.
Damn.
What do you think about the Permindex? No, read that one. Oh no, wait, did we? No, maybe we didn't. What do you think about the Permindex theory fund to fund the assassination through the Mossad finance minister?
100%.
Tibber? Okay,
Yeah, 100%.
I just had to meet the minimum. That's all. W stream. Shout out to you, bro. Thanks.
Hold on, I think we got like 2 more. Yeah, we got 2 more. One more.
One more? Okay. And then don't forget to get his book, A Warning from History, guys. You get it on Amazon. Also, you're going to be releasing this redone, right? With pictures and stuff and documents in it.
That is absolutely happening. How I go about releasing that is up in the air.
Okay. With all the fuckery that them boys do, is there anything that can be done or anything that can happen where they lose all support? Well, that's why they're taking Hasbara now.
Is there anything that can be done that can happen where
I think people are waking up now.
History, doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And so I have hope for the future.
Fair. You're just well, we're on YouTube. We can't throw our in on this one, my friend. What else do we got? That's it? All right, cool. Corey, where can the people find you, man?
CoryHughes.org. And if you're into World War II, I do a World War II Substack. It's got about 200 episodes, and it's the only truth you're going to hear about World War II pretty much anywhere. But
and we need to talk about the Cookie Monster event. We know we need to do a part 2 on this with the Cookie Monster event.
I would love to.
Yeah, I know we did it before on OSS only, but we need to do one like maybe Rumble only, and then so it has a little bit more widely available. Because the other one is on OSS only for obvious reasons. But yeah.
So I do a podcast. It's called Cory Hughes Bloody History, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. I don't recommend anybody listen to that thing because it is not meant for the casual listener. Okay. It is meant for the hardcore researcher, and I go so deep into micro details of things most people couldn't give a shit about that it'll bore the fuck out of you. Yeah. So, but A Warning from History is currently as close to the definitive telling of what happened in Dealey Plaza that you're going to find. The second edition, when I come out sometime next year, that one will have all of this plus some updated stuff, an extra chapter, and about 400 pages of documents and everything.
You need to do a documentary on this thing, man. One day.
I would like to do that very much.
Something like what Ryan did with 9/11. We'll help you crowdsource it. I think it'd be a good documentary.
I would love some help with that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Any other projects coming up besides that, man? Or anything else you want to let them know about?
Other than my Kennedy work, in July, me and my team, we launched a cryptocurrency project called Independent Media Token.
Okay.
We are basically a crypto VC to fund independent media projects.
Okay.
So it's in the very beginning stages. We need to get that off the ground, but it's doing its thing. So.
Okay.
Other than that, that's it.
Here's Cory Hughes, guys. Go check him out. That book, is that one out? The brand new one, volume 1, that has a lot of the pictures with Oswald.
Yes. This is out. Whatever.
Yeah, right there. That camera right there.
Lee Harvey Oswald in black and white. This is basically a refining of a lot of the work John Armstrong did, because you're never going to find John Armstrong's book on the 2 Oswalds. And once you get through with this...
And you show documents and everything, and the pictures like you guys saw. I showed you the pictures of both the alleged moms.
When you get done with this, you will realize Oswald is a gateway to things far beyond the Kennedy assassination.
Boom. So, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that stream, man. Obviously, rest in peace to John F. Kennedy, the last president that we had that wasn't owned by them boys. Obviously, I got the noticing hoodie on because we're definitely noticing today. And, yeah, guys, I'll be back tomorrow at around 7 p.m. And, yeah, man, go check out Cory. Go support his work, man. I'll see you guys. Peace.